Okay.
As your device comes into the Forest Park virtual court, please make sure your device is muted.
Asegúrese por favor que mantiene el micrófono apagado a medida que lo están dejando entrar en la sesión virtual.
Also, if I could please have all participants to type your full name and your email address in the chat and send it to FPMC.
Y si por favor le voy a pedir a cada una de las personas que está entrando ahora que ponga su nombre completo y su correo electrónico en el chat y se lo mande a FMPC. Perdón, FPMC.
Ms. Payton or Ms. Yates, once everyone is in the chat, once everyone is in the queue, if you'll let me know.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Yates or Ms. Payton, as I make the announcements, if I could have you to place Attorney Kassab and the prosecutor in a breakout room so they can discuss the Rose White matter.
Okay.
And let me know when you're ready for me to get started.
We can get started. I only have one person that is not connected to their audio, and I've already sent them a message.
Okay, thank you so
You
much.
see 4?
Ms. Ida, are you ready to get started?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
All right. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Forest Park Municipal Court.
Quiero dar la bienvenida a todos aquí al Tribunal Municipal de Forest Park.
My name is Judge Ronald Freeman,
Mi nombre es el juez Ronald Freeman
and I will be presiding over the proceedings this morning.
y yo soy el que va a llevar a cabo todos estos procesos hoy en la mañana.
This is a trial session.
Esta es una sesión para los juicios.
You entered a not guilty plea on your arraignment date,
Usted se declaró no culpable el día de la lectura de cargo
and you had requested that your case be set down for a trial in Forest Park.
y usted pidió que se le hiciera un juicio aquí en su causa en Forest Park.
You have the election of having your matter bound over to Clayton County,
Usted tiene la opción de poder elegir que le manden, que trasladen este caso al Tribunal Estatal de Clayton.
and you waive that election by requesting that your case be tried via a bench trial in Forest Park.
Y usted renunció a ese derecho al decidir que su caso se llevara a cabo en el Tribunal Municipal de Forest Park por vía Zoom.
Let me give you a few rules of virtual court in Forest Park.
Déjeme decir algunas reglas que tenemos para llevar a cabo estas sesiones virtuales aquí en Forest Park.
Number one, please type your full name and email address in the chat and send it to FPMC.
Número 1, por favor, escriba su nombre completo y su correo electrónico en el chat y se lo va a mandar a FPMC.
Number 2, please keep your video on at all times.
Número 2, por favor, mantenga su video, la cámara prendida todo el tiempo.
Number 3, please keep your device muted until your name is called.
Y la número 3, por favor, mantenga su micrófono apagado hasta que usted oiga y diga su nombre.
Number 4, please ensure that you have proper connectivity with the internet.
Número 4, siempre que tenga una conexión con la internet la debida para poder escucharlo y oírlo.
If your connectivity is weak, your session will be terminated.
Si uno tiene buena conexión con el internet, se le va a terminar la sesión.
And you will be requested to appear for in-person court.
Y se le va a exigir de que se presente en persona para terminar el caso en persona en el tribunal.
Please ensure that there are no distractions in your background.
Asegúrese que no hay distracciones en el trasfondo donde usted se encuentra.
Please allot at least 2 to 2.5 hours for court.
Por favor, asegúrese que tiene 2 o 2 horas y media para llevar a cabo este proceso.
Please ensure that there are no garments or hats or other things on your head unless they are there for religious reasons.
Y asegúrese que no hay ningún tipo de sombreros o de cosas que se pongan en la cabeza, a menos de que sea por razones religiosas.
Please ensure that you are in a proper room for purposes of conducting court.
Y asegúrese que se encuentre en una sala o en un sitio que sea apropiado para llevar a cabo esta sesión del tribunal.
Please ensure that you comply with all rules of the Forest Park Municipal Court.
Por favor, asegúrese que usted cumple con todas las reglas del Tribunal Municipal de Forest Park.
Please understand that if any dress, rules, or any distractions take place, your session with the court will be terminated.
Entienda que cualquier tipo de distracciones, de reglas que no haya cumplido o de vestimenta que tenga o alguna cosa que no sea apropiada en este momento, entonces se le va a terminar su sesión virtual.
This morning, the calendar will be called and you will be asked to enter your plea.
Hoy en la mañana se va a llamar la lista de casos y usted se le va a pedir que por favor diga cómo se va a declarar.
If you change your plea to guilty or nolo,
Si usted cambia su declaración a culpable o nolo,
your case will be disposed of without a trial.
su caso se va a resolver sin tener que ir a juicio.
If you continue with your not guilty plea,
Si usted continúa con su declaración de no culpable,
then your trial will take place momentarily.
entonces su caso se lo van a llamar en breves momentos.
During the trials, the city has the burden of proof.
Durante los juicios, la fiscalía tiene la carga de probar.
So the city gets to present its evidence first.
Entonces la fiscalía se presenta las pruebas que ellos tienen primero, exponen el caso primero.
You will have the right to question all witnesses introduced by the city.
Usted tiene derecho a contrainterrogar a cualquiera de los testigos que sean presentados por la fiscalía.
And you will have the right to present your version at the appropriate time.
Y usted va a tener derecho de presentar su versión de los hechos en el momento debido.
Because this is virtual court, all communications will take place electronically.
Debido a que esto es una de audiencia virtual, todas las comunicaciones se van a llevar a cabo electrónicamente.
Therefore, having your email address is essential.
Debido a esto, el tener su correo electrónico es importantísimo.
You will receive your plea form and all court documents through your email address.
Usted va a recibir todos los documentos que tenga que firmar y todos los documentos relacionados con su caso por su correo electrónico.
And you will receive these documents no later than close of business tomorrow.
Y va a recibir estos documentos a más tardar a terminar el día de hábil a mañana.
Please continually check your email through close of business tomorrow.
Por favor, continúe siempre chequeando su correo electrónico para ver que lleguen documentos hasta mañana cuando terminen de hacer el trabajo laboral.
I am about to call the calendar.
Ya voy a llamar la lista de casos.
When you hear your name called,
Cuando usted oiga su nombre,
if you will please announce present.
por favor, si puede decir que está presente.
For any offender that is not here,
Para cualquiera de las personas que han cometido un delito que no se encuentran acá,
a failure to appear will be issued.
se va a emitir una orden por falta de comparecencia.
It is now 8:26 a.m.
Es ahora las 8:26 de la tarde, perdón, 8:26 de la mañana.
Ibrahim Abdul Rahman.
Present.
Thank you. And sir, what is your plea to this charge?
Still not guilty, Judge.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Emmanuel Atkins. Emmanuel Atkins.
Present.
Thank you. What is your plea to the charge?
I'm not sure what this is for.
Okay, it's an expired tag charge, sir, and I'm gonna ask you to please remove that hat from your head. This is for an expired tag, so you are accused of driving a car that did not have proper registration.
Okay. Can I have my own case bounded to the court?
You should have requested that on your arraignment date, but we will bind your case over to Clayton County. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, if you will hold on, we will get back to you later. We'll put you down for not guilty. Wanda Dallas. Wanda Dallas.
She's having some audio connectivity issues.
Okay, and is the witness Deja O'Neill available?
I'm here.
Thank you. We're gonna need for you to turn your video on a little brighter, but we'll come back to you. Thank you. Avery Flores Fitchett. Avery Flores Fitchett. After you have heard your name called, if you'll please turn your device back to mute. Avery Flores Fitchett. That is an FTA. Anisha Gallen.
Present.
What is your plea, young lady?
Guilty.
All right. Thank you. We'll come back to you momentarily. We'll see if you're eligible for a Nolo plea as well, okay?
Okay.
Michael Hudson. Michael Hudson. Ivado Pineda.
I'm here.
All right, thank you, sir. We don't hear from Mr. Hudson.
I'm here.
That
That's
Mr.
Mr.
Hudson
Fox.
talking, sir.
You're Mr. Hudson. Are you Mr. Hudson?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
And Ivado Pineda.
Evedo
Yes.
Pineda, ¿se encuentra aquí, señor Pineda?
Sí,
Okay, he's here,
All
Your
right.
Honor.
They both are here. Thank you.
Mhm.
Gregory Johnson. Gregory Johnson. FTA. Reginald Jones.
Yes, sir.
All right, what is your plea to the charge, sir?
I had two tickets. I
You
believe
have
one
a
of them.
speeding charge and you have a seatbelt violation.
Oh, guilty.
All right, we'll be back with you momentarily, sir. Fred Manning. Fred Manning. Fred Manning. FTA. Mr. Hudson, you can go ahead and mute your device. Rigoberto Mata-Rios.
Here,
What is your plea, young man?
not guilty.
Thank you. Pablo Montoya.
no, guilty,
¿Cómo se va a declarar, señor?
no culpable.
Okay, he's not guilty, Your Honor.
Thank you.
You-
Nathan Myrick.
Should we ask should we call a witness? You know, there's a witness on
Yes.
that case.
Jose Ochoa.
José Ochoa se encuentra presente, por favor,
Present.
déjenos saber.
All right, they
Yes,
both are
he's here.
present. Thank
Okay.
you. Nathan Myrick. Nathan Myrick, FTA. Ade Klimbo Oyename. Ade Klimbo Oyename, FTA. Juanita Redding.
Here.
Thank you. What is your plea, ma'am?
Nolo.
All right, we'll see if you're eligible for a Nolo. Thank you. Kirsten Tiller. Kirsten Tiller. You can mute your device, Miss Redding. Kirsten Tiller, FTA. Eugene Tolliver, Ira Tolliver. Ira Tolliver.
He's on mute.
Mr. Tolliver, will you please unmute? All right, we will come back. Pijman Vafardari.
Here, Your Honor. I'm representing my husband.
Are you an attorney?
No, sir. He
Okay.
went to the doctor and he was in the basement. He does not have signal to get in touch with the Zoom.
Okay, well, we will need to reset and he will need to physically come to the courthouse. So just stay on the line, all right?
Thank you, sir.
Anthony White. Anthony White, FTA.
Present. Anthony White is present.
What is your plea, sir?
There are two. Can you tell me about the dates?
You have one charge of stop sign violation on January the 28th of 22.
Not guilty.
You have another stop sign violation on June the 4th of 2022.
January 28th, not guilty.
All right. January 28th is not guilty. And how about June the 4th?
I don't believe I can successfully defend, so I'll say Nolo.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm listening to you. Would you please, Your Honor, if you will?
Well, I'm gonna let you plead. You've had a while to think about these two cases, so I will leave that up to you. So it sounds like you're doing a not guilty for the one in January and a Nolo for the one in June. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Rose White is represented by counsel. John Whitehead. John Whitehead. That's FTA.
Here.
What is your plea, Mr. Whitehead?
Not guilty.
All right. Thank you. Please mute your device. We'll be back with your trial momentarily. Jada Williams. Jada Williams. FTA. Corey Willis.
Not guilty.
Thank you. Donald Watts. Donald Watts.
He's here. It appears that his audio isn't connected.
All right, we'll put him down as
Donald Watts is here. Can you hear me now?
we can hear you, sir. We will call this case for trial momentarily. Thank you. You can mute your device. Courtney Wilson. Courtney Wilson. That is FTA. That concludes the call of the calendar. If there is any offender or any witness that did not hear your name called, if you will please sound now.
Your Honor, this is Your Honor, William Ramsey.
All right, Mr. Ramsey. Mr. Ramsey?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand you're on the calendar this morning? I can't talk to you while you're driving, sir, okay?
Yeah, we understand he's on the calendar.
Okay, well, we cannot conduct court while he is driving. So he's gonna need to pull over.
Yeah, we're pulling over right now. We were just waiting for roll call. We need to take
I
our
don't
daughter to
have
school.
Mr. Ramsey on the calendar, by the way. Is he on our red light?
It was a camera in front of Forest Park High School.
All right. Okay, he will be called at the end of the calendar. You all will need, after we have finished up the calendar, we will come back to him, okay?
So you said we should leave after we're finished calling the calendar?
No. We're gonna finish up this calendar and then we will handle the red light calendar. So it's going to be about 45 minutes to an hour before we get to the red light session.
And are we included in the red light session even though it was a speeding camera?
It sounds like you are.
Okay,
So
thank
you
you.
will be called when but at that time, you cannot be operating a vehicle, all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that has not heard their name called?
¿Hay alguna otra persona que no haya oído su nombre? Por favor, déjenos saber.
Ivonne Valencia.
Yvonne Valencia. ¿Es usted,
Is
may
she
I
a
ask, Your Honor,
witness or is she?
¿es usted testigo o es usted que tiene un caso aquí?
Testigo.
She's a witness.
In what case?
¿En qué caso?
Es
¿Cuál es el
contra
nombre?
James Rea.
James, deletré el nombre, el apellido porque no lo entiendo.
R-H-E-A.
Oh, James Rea, Your Honor. R-H-E-A.
Okay. What number, where is he on the calendar, Ms. Ida?
I have no idea, Your Honor. I didn't see
Yeah, I don't
him.
have him on the calendar at all. Just ask her to hold on. We will check with the clerk's office.
Espérese un momentito que vamos a chequear a ver dónde está el caso suyo, pero no lo tenemos en la lista de casos. Así que manténgase al presente, pero apague su micrófono ahora, ¿ok?
Okay.
All right, is there anyone else?
Juan.
It
What is
appears
your
we
name, ma'am?
There is somebody else, I think. El
Yeah,
señor
we
que-
have Miss Wanda Davis too. She's here now.
I'm here.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Davis, I have
Yes.
you down as being
do
present.
you
Yes, I'm here.
What is your plea to the charge, Ms. Davis?
I'm not guilty.
Okay, thank you. We'll call this matter for trial. Thank you.
La
Is there
siguiente,
anyone else?
¿hay
You
alguien
can
más?
mute your device now, Ms. Davis.
Buenos días.
Okay. ¿Cómo se llama usted, señor?
Amador Argüelles.
¿Está aquí como testigo o está aquí porque tiene un caso?
Yo soy, bueno, me mandaron llamar como testigo por el caso de James, el mismo caso de la señora Valencia.
El mismo caso, okay. He's also here, Your Honor. Mr. Amador Argüelles is here in the same case, James Rea, the same case as the other lady.
Yo fui el afectado del caso.
Okay.
Mr. Rea is a bond forfeiture.
Let them know that Mr. Rio is a bond forfeiture. He's not on the calendar, is he, Ms. J?
No, sir.
All right. He's a bond forfeiture. Let them know that they are excused. His case has been disposed of.
Okay, el señor Rea, que era la persona para que estaban acá, ya se declaró y ya pagó, bueno, no se declaró, pagó la multa que le impusieron, por lo tanto no va a haber juicio y ustedes pueden retirarse porque ya no los necesitan como testigos de la fiscalía. Ok, eso va para el señor Argüelles y para la señorita Ivonne Valencia, se pueden retirar ya porque el señor no está aquí diciendo que no es culpable, ya él pagó la multa y ya no va a haber juicio.
Ok.
Okay,
Bueno, gracias.
Hasta luego.
All right.
And Judge Freeman, it appears that Ira Tolliver is off of mute now.
Okay.
I'm here.
All right, Mr. Tolliver, what is your plea to the two charges, sir? You have a traffic control device and an expired tag.
Yes, as I explained to the clerk, I want to be represented by a lawyer, but at that given point in time when I had a ticket, I was driving local.
Well, don't go into the facts. Don't go into the facts. What I want to know is just what is your plea? One is a tag violation, which means that the vehicle you were operating, they're saying it did not have a proper renewed tag. So that's one charge, which happened on January the 27th, 2022. And the other one is a traffic control device. So if you're saying I'm not guilty, that is fine. I just simply want to know, what is your plea?
I would like to consult a lawyer on this.
This happened back in January. So this is now September. You've had plenty of time to speak with an attorney. Have you talked to one?
Yes, but I was trying to explain to you, I've switched jobs from then, and my truck has been really in the shop more than I've been on the road. So I just need a little bit of time to get the money to pay for the lawyer.
Okay, what I'm gonna do is just bind your cases over to state court, okay? And that'll give you plenty of time, all right?
All right, I appreciate it.
Okay, just hold on, your matters will be bound over.
Thank you.
All right, is there anyone else?
Aló, buenos días, señorita.
Buenos días, usted está aquí, ¿cómo se llama usted?
Mi nombre es Antonio Clemente Ambrosio.
¿Y usted está aquí porque le dieron un ticket o porque va a ser testigo?
Por un ticket.
Okay, Your Honor, he's here for a ticket, and his name is Antonio Clemente Ambrosio.
Okay, he is not on the calendar. I don't know if the clerks can shed any light on that.
Okay, no lo tenemos en la lista de casos. Estamos viendo a ver si las secretarias pueden decirnos.
And just ask him to hold on. We will go through the calendar and we will address him at the end. He's not on our calendar. But if he has a case in Forest Park, we'll let him know when is his date and time.
Okay, que se mantenga ahí ahora en la llamada. No lo tenemos en la lista de casos, pero le vamos a dejar saber cuándo le toca. Así que por favor apague el micrófono, pero manténgase presente en la conferencia, aquí en la llamada con video, ¿ok?
Muy amable, gracias.
De nada.
Okay, let's go first to Anissa Gallen.
Judge, can I jump in real quick?
You certainly can.
Can I get someone from the clerk's office to send over Miss Rose White's file to me so I can finish up with Attorney Kassab?
Yes, 1 second.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Judge, for interrupting.
That's okay. And then next, can we go to Ms. Gallen? And if you all let me know if she's eligible for a Nolo plea.
One moment. She's eligible for Nolo.
Thank you. Ms. Gallen?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Judge Freeman. It looks like you are eligible for a Nolo plea. If you'd like to tender it, I'll bring that to your attention, because if you enter a guilty plea to these charges, they will suspend your license. Do you understand that?
Oh, yes.
Would you like to change your plea to Nolo?
Yes.
Now, you understand you will still have to pay a fine, but the Nolo plea will keep your license out of suspension. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you understand that by entering into the Nolo plea that you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
Yes.
Do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes.
Are you entering into the plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into a Nolo plea to the suspended registration and the failure to maintain insurance charges?
Yes.
The court will reduce the suspended registration charge down to expired registration. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The court will accept your Nolo plea to both charges. The total fine for both violations is $1,290. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Are you able to satisfy that in 2 weeks, or do you need to be placed on probation to pay that?
2 weeks is fine.
All right. Young lady, you will be placed on probation for 2 weeks to pay the sum of $1,290. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Have you typed your name and your email address in the chat?
Yes, I did.
Can we confirm that, Ms. Yates?
I don't have it. Could you?
Ms.
say
Gallen,
it?
can I get you to repeat your email address?
Okay.
I'm
Can you
ready. Go
repeat
ahead.
your email address? Go ahead.
It's anishagallon@gmail.com.
Thank you so much.
All right, Ms. Gallen,
You're
you will
welcome.
receive through your email no later than close of business tomorrow your plea form. Once you have notated Nolo and sent it back, you then will receive your 2-week agreement. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Please ensure that the sum of $1,290 is paid within 2 weeks. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, you can disengage from the call and thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next, let's go to Reginald Jones.
Here, sir.
Mr. Jones, it's my understanding you're entering a guilty plea to the speeding and the seatbelt violation, sir?
Yes, sir.
Sir, do you understand that by entering into the guilty plea that you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
And sir, do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes, sir.
Sir, are you entering into the plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And sir, do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into a guilty plea to the speeding and the seatbelt violation?
Yes, sir.
Sir, the court will accept your guilty plea on the speeding charge because of your speed. This is a non-reportable offense, so this will not show on your record. Do you understand that, sir? The total fine is $215. Are you able to pay that in 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time?
That's fine, sir. I can pay it.
All right. Sir, can you please repeat your email address?
It is Saint Center. That is SAINTSINNER 314@gmail.com.
Did we have that, Ms. Yates?
No, I couldn't hear you, sir.
We're gonna need you to speak up.
Okay, I apologize. It is Saint Center 314@gmail.com.
Saint is spelled SAINT and center is spelled SINNER.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay, I have it. And Your
All right.
Honor, did you advise 250 or 215?
215.
Okay, thank you.
And sir, you will receive your plea form by close of business tomorrow. Notate guilty and send it back, and then you will receive your 2-week agreement. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir, you can disengage from the call. Thank you.
Thank you kindly.
All right, next, let's go to Juanita Redding.
Hello.
Ms. Redding, it's my
Yes.
understanding you're entering a Nolo plea to the charges. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Can we confirm that Ms. Redding is eligible for a Nolo plea?
Your Honor, we may need to come back to her. She's got some documents that you all may need to review.
Okay, Ms. Redding, we will come back to you, okay?
Judge Freeman, I have
Yeah.
the DMV sent me some more documents for my I had to send in to the doctor to fill out.
Mm-hmm.
So but they I hadn't got the report back yet. They had the email that the doctor emailed it to them to the DMV. So I got a paper that they gave me to show that I had went and to send the paper, in, because it's been ever since 2014. And they said on my when I went out there, they said that all my form wasn't filled out properly. When they
Okay, well,
sent
let
back,
me review the documents, okay?
yes, sir.
All right, thank you. If you'll just hold on.
All righty.
All right?
All right.
All right. And that concludes everyone who has entered a guilty or a Nolo plea regarding all of their cases. So we will begin the trials now. And I know that some had split cases where they entered a guilty and a not guilty. We will address those at this time. Mr. Prosecutor?
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Let me go to the bindovers. Emmanuel Atkins. Emmanuel Atkins.
I'm here.
All right. Mr. Atkins, what is your email address?
Emmanuel Atkins, my first and last name, 49@gmail.com.
Okay. Are you operating a vehicle, sir?
Pulling over now.
I will come back to you. Let's go to Ira Tolliver.
I'm here.
Mr. Tolliver, what is your
Yes.
email address, sir?
My last name, Tolliver, first initial I at AOL.com.
All right, do we have that, Ms. Yates?
I have it. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Tolliver, your cases will be bound over to Clayton County. You will receive through your email your plea form. Please make sure that you enter a not guilty plea, send it back to Forest Park. Once you've done that, I will sign a bind over order. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir, you can disengage from the call, and thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Atkins? Emmanuel Atkins.
Yes.
Mr. Atkins, what is your email address, sir? Mr. Atkins, can I ask you to please take your hat off your head?
Emmanuel Atkins 49@gmail.com.
Do we have that, Ms. Yates?
Yes, sir, I have it.
All right, Mr. Atkins, you will receive your plea form through your email. Enter a not guilty plea and send it back, and then you will receive the bind over order where your case has been sent over to Clayton County. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
All right, sir, you can disengage from the call. All right, on page 6 of 8, can we reset the Pejman Fadari matter? And let's ask that they personally come to court for in person.
Yes, sir.
All right. So that will be reset.
Okay.
Let's get the email address. The wife of Mr.
Here,
Rafadati.
here.
What
It's
is the email address for us to send the in-person notice to?
Pejman, first name Pejman 09 at AOL.com.
Do we have that, Ms. Yates?
I have it.
Okay, you all can disengage. You will receive your reset notice, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, I think we only have trials left. And the red light court.
Your Honor, and were they able to find out when Mr. Antonio Ambrosio is due for court?
Let me let them check on that.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Yes.
I have two cases.
What is
One,
your name?
Anthony White.
Yeah, Mr. White, anytime you have a guilty and a not guilty plea, we handle both of them during the time of trial, sir.
No, not guilty. I didn't plead guilty to anything. Nolo for one.
If you entered a nolo and a not guilty, we handle both of them at the time of trial.
Okay. Okay. I didn't know how that go when I didn't understand the verbiage. Okay. All right. Yeah.
If I could jump in here one more time. Ms. Yates, Ms. Payton, on Joseph Saab's case, Rose White, this was an accident case. Do we have a incident report that you can forward me, or if you can tell me what the name of the other driver was, so we can announce to see if they're present?
Yep, hold on one second.
solicitor?
Yes.
I don't think that I made contact with that witness. I'm looking at the subpoena.
Okay, so we did have a subpoena sent out to him. What was the name of that person?
Nathaniel Cameron.
And so is Nathaniel Cameron on this Zoom?
No,
Nathaniel Cameron.
I don't think I reached out to them.
Okay. All right, Judge. On Mr. Kassab's case, I still have him in the waiting room, but I'm going to move to dismiss for one prosecution on that matter. We also verified that there was no communication or reference to the accident that occurred as far as a claim being made. And if the person wants to bring it back up later on, I guess they can bring it back up. You're on mute, sir.
This is on page 7 of 8, Rose White.
Rose White, yes.
All right, so the city wants to dismiss for warrant of prosecution?
Yes, sir.
All right.
And
let's make sure that we send to Ms. White her plea form so she can enter a not guilty plea. The case is being dismissed for warrant of prosecution by the city.
I'll let Mr. Kassab know. I'm going to assume that we'll be forwarding everything to his email address.
All right.
And I don't know if Ms. White is on here, but we'll get her attorney to get in contact with her.
Okay.
And let me pop back out. And then when I pop back in, Judge, we'll be ready to rock and roll.
Okay. Ms. Yates or Ms. Payton, are there any updates or anything we need to deal with before we start the trials?
Yes, can Officer Fields be excused? The
Yes.
party that she was here for was failure to appear.
Yes, Officer Fields can be excused, and thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and it looks like we have one red light, is that correct?
One moment, sir.
We have two.
Two, so we have Ramsey, and what is the other one?
Antonio Clementine, but I
Okay.
don't know if he's here or not.
I think that is the person that Mrs. Ida has been speaking with. Okay, thank you.
All right, Judge, I'm ready when you are.
Okay, then the first case we will call for trial is Ibrahim Abdul Rahman.
Your Honor, I sent you a note. Officer James was just sent to, she was sent out on a call. Could we table her a little later for her to be able to get back in?
We'll hold. Okay.
Thank you.
Then the next trial will be Wanda Dallas.
Wanda Davis, Judge?
Wanda Davis, I'm sorry. Wanda Davis. I'm thinking of Judge Dallas. Wanda Davis.
All right, and so that's going to be Officer Dawes.
And there's a witness, Deja O'Neill, that's present. Deja O'Neill.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Miss Davis. Wanda Davis.
Yes, hello?
Yes, if you will please raise your right hand. We are about to begin the trial.
Okay.
Miss Davis and Miss O'Neill, please raise your right hand along with Officer Dawes. Raise your right hand.
Okay, can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
I do.
All right, thank you. Mr. Prosecutor, if you want to go ahead and proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, Ms. Davis is before the court because on February 4th of 2020, she received a citation for following too close. I believe this was an accident. That citation was issued by Officer Dawes. Officer Dawes, on the date in question, did you have an opportunity to come in contact with Ms. Davis?
Yes, I did.
And was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes.
And are you a post-certified peace officer with arrest powers?
Yes.
Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
Yes. So Miss O'Neill was both vehicles were traveling southbound on Ash Street, approaching on the 5300 block of Ash Street. Miss O'Neill was waiting to turn southbound onto Laurel Street, and she was hit from behind by Miss Davis. Miss Davis advised that she was looking at her navigation system, and by the time she looked, it was too late, causing her to slam on the brakes and striking Miss O'Neill from behind.
All right. And you observed the damage to both vehicles when you came out there and did your investigation. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And it appeared that the impact had been to the rear of Miss O'Neill's vehicle and the front of Miss Davis's vehicle. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Nothing further for this witness at this time, Judge.
All right. Ms. Davis, do you have any questions you'd like to ask the police officer?
Yes, I want to know, because it was raining off and on all that day. Was it? And it still was wet. It wasn't exactly raining hard at that time, but it just stopped raining again when he came out.
Okay, Ms. Davis, you know you got to make this a question now, okay? What is the question?
Yes, okay. I just want to know, is that true, sir?
Is what true?
Okay.
Is it true that the ground was wet?
How about it being wet? Was the ground was wet?
Okay. Her question is, was the ground wet?
I don't recall. I can't recall.
Okay.
I mean, it's been so long ago. I can't remember the day.
If you all have the citation, normally you will have the weather conditions checked on the citation.
Yeah.
Yes, because on the citation it got dry and it was not dry.
Okay, well, you'll have a chance to tell me that, okay? Well, Ms. Davis, you'll have a chance to tell me that. What's your question now? What's your next question?
Okay. I really don't have no question. All I can tell is what happened. That's
okay,
all
you'll
I
get a chance to do that. You'll get a chance. Let's let the prosecutor finish presenting his case, okay?
Okay, sir.
All right, thank you. You want to go to your next witness, Mr. Prosecutor?
Yes, Your Honor. The city will call Miss O'Neill. Miss O'Neill, on the date in question, were you involved in a motor vehicle accident with Miss Davis?
Yes.
Can you state to the court how that accident occurred from your position?
I was slowing down, and I put my indicator on. As I was putting my indicator on and slowing down, before I was able to get to the actual turn, I was hit from behind.
Okay, so you hadn't completed merging over into or completed your maneuver to make the turn. You were impacted. Did you stay in the same location where the impact occurred, or did you then move over and go ahead and make the turn?
No, I stayed in the same location and I called the police officer before I even moved.
Okay. All right. And so did you get out your vehicle? Did you stay in the vehicle?
I got out the vehicle after I called the police, or while I was calling the police, and he directed me to move out of where I was at. Okay.
Nothing further for this witness, Judge.
All right, Ms. Davis, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Ms. O'Neill?
Because I'd like to know, because when I was approaching, I saw the vehicle stopped, and when I looked up, it was driving, and when I looked back up and saw it had stopped.
So Ms. Davis, let's do this. Ms. Davis, let's do this. Remember, let's make it a question. Okay, you're going to get a chance to tell me what happened.
I really don't have no question. Like I say, is what I saw. So I really don't have no question for her.
Okay. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask Ms. O'Neill based on her testimony?
No, because I did hit her vehicle, and I don't have no question because I did hit the vehicle.
Okay. All right. Does the city have any other evidence?
City arrest, Judge.
All right. Now, Ms. Davis, you can tell me what happened.
Okay. As I was driving, I saw the car. Her car was a good ways in front of me, and it was driving. So I went to glance over at my GPS to see, because I was trying to find the turn off to get the old Dixie Highway, and I didn't know what street to turn, and her car was moving. So when I looked back, that's when I saw her car stopped. And I was like about 4 car lengths from behind her. So I slammed on brakes And when I slammed on brakes, I wasn't that close to her, but my car just kept sliding and it hit her, but it didn't hit her hard, but it hit her hard enough to, to touch her vehicle and push her. And that's why, and I didn't know my tires were bald, but the ground was wet because I was at work and it was raining off and on all that day. And I'm not saying that it was her fault that I hit her, but I'm just saying I wasn't close. That's all I'm trying to say. Okay. I wasn't close, but my car did slid from her. I guess, I don't know if it jammed when I hit it, because it just surprised me when I saw her stop, because I didn't know she was going to stop.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, sir.
All right. The prosecutor may have some questions to ask you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mr. Prosecutor.
Judge, I don't have any questions.
All right, Ms. Davis, you have entered a not guilty plea to the following two closely charged. Based on the evidence, the court does find you guilty of the violation. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The fine amount is $200. Are you able to satisfy that in 2 weeks, or do you need a longer time to pay?
Nope, I will pay it in 2 weeks. And I am so sorry again, ma'am, for doing that.
I'm glad that both of you all are okay. Miss Davis, what is your email address?
Wanda Davis 363@gmail.com.
Do we have that, Ms. Yates?
I have it, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Davis, you will receive your plea form through your email by close of business tomorrow. You will enter a not guilty plea. The court has found you guilty, and then you will receive a 2-week agreement to pay the judgment of $200. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Ms. O'Neill, you can disengage from the call. Ms. Davis, you can disengage from the call.
Thank you, sir. You have a good day.
Thank you. Okay, take care.
Uh-huh.
All right, Mr. Prosecutor, your next trial is Michael Hudson and Ibrahim Pineda. Michael Hudson and Ivado Pineda.
You know, Honor, the talks of Daz's case also.
All right, Miss Ida.
Yes, I'm here, Your Honor.
Yeah, we need to get the witness. Mr. Pineda was on the call earlier.
Señor Pineda, ¿se encuentra presente?
Sí.
Okay, there he is, Your Honor.
Okay, everyone that's going to testify, please raise your right hand along with Officer Das.
Todos los que van a testificar, levante su mano derecha.
Do you swear or affirm
¿Usted jura o afirma
that the testimony you're about to give
que el testimonio que va a presentar ahora
will be the truth and the whole truth?
Será la verdad y toda la verdad.
So help you God.
Lo jura por Dios.
If so, say I do.
Y si así lo hace, diga que sí.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Prosecutor, you want to go ahead and present the case? And remember, we have an interpreter for Mr. Pineda.
May I just remind everybody, you know, for the people, the witnesses and the person that speaks Spanish to wait until I interpret so that way everybody can hear and understand. Asegúrese, señor Pineda, que solamente está escuchando, ¿ok? Lo que se está diciendo. Cuando se le haga una pregunta, entonces la va a contestar y me tiene que dejar interpretar para yo poder oír lo que dicen las demás personas. Y espere que yo interprete aunque usted entienda en español, ¿ok?
Ok, está bien.
Okay.
All right, Your Honor. Mr. Hudson is before the court because on February 4th of 2020, he received a citation for failure to yield.
Ok, el señor Hudson se encuentra aquí presente porque recibió una citación el 4 de febrero por no ceder el paso.
The citation was issued by Officer Daz.
La citación la hizo el agente Daz. Let me ask Mr. Pinedo to mute himself because he's going to be listening right now. Is that okay, Mr. Mary Rose? Okay.
Yes.
Señor Pineda, por favor, apague el micrófono de su Zoom por ahora, porque usted lo que va a oír. No, la cámara la tiene prendida. Es el micrófono el que tiene que apagar, por favor. El micrófono, porque estamos oyendo un ruido y creo que viene de allá. Okay. Okay, go ahead. La cámara prendida, el micrófono es el que tiene que apagar.
Officer Dawes, on the date in question, did you have an opportunity to come in contact with Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Señor agente Dawes, estuvo el momento cuando se ocurrió esto de ponerse en contacto con el señor Hudson y el oficial dijo que sí.
And was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Y eso fue en los límites del tribunal, de los límites de Forest Park, de la ciudad de Forest Park.
Yes.
Sí.
And you've already mentioned that you were a post-certified peace officer with arrest powers. Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
Y usted ya dijo que está certificado POST. Por favor, nos puede decir la naturaleza de ese contacto. Officer, please wait until the interpreter so Mr. Pineda knows what's going on.
Yes. So I made contact with Mr. Hudson. He advised that he had stopped at a stop sign prior to him coming out from Racetrack gas station on Old Dixie.
Okay.
When he turned, he did not.
Yo me contacté con él y él dijo que sí se había parado en un alto cuando salió de la estación de gasolina del Racetrack en Old Dixie.
Okay. And when he turned, he did not see Mr. Pineda coming, causing them to collide.
Y cuando él dio la vuelta, no se dio cuenta que venía el señor Pineda, lo que hizo que ocurriera una colisión.
He spoke with Mr. Pineda.
Él habló con el señor Pineda.
He advised he turned left coming off of Old Dixie onto Forest Parkway.
Y él dijo que había volteado a la izquierda, veniendo de Forest Park a meterse en Old Dixie.
And when Mr. Hudson pulled out in front of him,
y cuando el señor Hudson se puso enfrente de él,
he even tried to switch over to the outside lane to avoid striking, avoid the collision with Mr. Hudson.
Él hasta trató de cambiar de carril para poder evitar la colisión o el choque con el señor Hudson.
But cannot, because Mr. Hudson, due to him pulling the trailer as well,
pero no lo pudo lograr porque debido al tamaño del trailer que el remolque que cargaba el señor Hudson.
He entered into Mr. Pineda's lane as well, causing them to collide.
Él se metió en el carril del señor Pineda, lo que ocurrió que hizo que chocara con el señor Pineda.
All right. And you looked at the damage to both of the vehicle, and you deduced from the impact and the testimony that Mr. Hudson was at fault for failure to maintain his lane.
Y usted revisó los daños que hubo y debido a hizo la revisión de los daños, del impacto y del testimonio, usted determinó que el señor Hudson era el que tenía la culpa de este choque.
I'm sorry. I did. It was fair to yield the right of way.
I was going to correct myself. Thank you.
Perdón, era no ceder el paso, que tenía que ceder el paso. Es la corrección que hay.
All right. I have no further questions for this witness at this time, Judge.
No tengo más preguntas para el testigo.
Do you have any questions you'd like to ask Officer Dawes?
¿Tiene preguntas, señor Hudson, para hacerle al agente Dodds?
Mr. Hudson, come off of mute.
Señor, okay.
Is that better?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Do you have any questions for Officer Dawes?
I guess not, sir. On the accident or on the ticket, what does it mean when it says CDL yes, accident no?
¿Qué quiere decir cuando
I
dice
must have made a
DDL
mistake on it.
y accidente no? Creo que cometí un error en hacer eso.
The officer said that he made a mistake on checking that
It must
box
have been a
and it was
mistake.
an
It
accident.
is. Yes, it was an accident. It'll be my error.
Que eso fue un accidente, fue error de la gente.
Mr. Hudson, do you have any other questions?
¿Tiene alguna otra pregunta?
I don't believe he heard you, Judge.
Mr. Hudson, do you have any other questions?
No, sir, I don't have any questions for Officer Dawes.
Okay, thank you. You want to go to your next witness, Mr. Prosecutor?
Yes, Your Honor.
El siguiente testigo ahora.
Mr. Pineda, on the date in question, were you involved in a motor vehicle accident in Forest Park with Mr. Hudson?
What is that echo? I'm sorry, but it's very hard to
It's
understand.
it's Mr. Hudson's phone, so I'm just gonna put him on mute until you guys are talking to him.
Thank you. Can you repeat the question for me, Mr. Mary Rose?
No worries. Mr. Pineda, on the date in question, were you involved in a motor vehicle accident with Mr. Hudson?
Señor Pineda, el día que estamos hablando, que dimos la fecha, ¿usted tuvo un accidente o una situación de accidente con el señor Hudson?
Sí.
Yes.
And could you briefly state to the court how the accident occurred from your position?
Y por favor, ¿le puede decir al juez cómo ocurrió el accidente desde su punto de vista? Por favor, señor Pineda, haga pausas para yo interpretar, ¿ok? Dígale al juez cómo su versión de los hechos.
Yo venía por la Old Dixie y volteé a la Forest Park.
I was coming from Old Dixie and I turned into Forest Park.
Y cuando volteé, me metí a la última línea y cuando miré que la troca se metió al carril y yo traté de esquivarlo.
I came and I was actually doing on the far lane, and then when I saw the trailer and the truck coming in, I tried to avoid it. Continúe.
Y ya pues ocurrió el accidente y ya pues me orillé para que llegara el policía.
And then the accident happened and I just moved away to wait for the police.
Okay, and so, Mr. Pineda, in reference to how the accident occurred, did you ever leave your lane of travel?
Y señor Pineda, en relación a cómo ocurrió el accidente, ¿usted tuvo que salirse o dejar su carril donde estaba?
Y disculpe, ¿cómo dice?
Can you repeat that again, please?
In reference to how the accident occurred, did you ever leave your lane of travel once you made that turn?
Y cuando estaba, en la forma como ocurrió el accidente, ¿usted dejó el carril, su carril donde usted iba, cuando usted hizo cuando usted volteó a la carretera?
No completo.
Not all the way. ¿Por qué? Continúe.
Porque hice como una vuelta para tratar de esquivarlo. No.
I tried to veer, so I was able to avoid it.
Antes que el accidente iba a estar. Antes del accidente, dice.
You said before the accident?
No. I was asking during the time that he was making the turn, if he maintained his lane of travel.
Que cuando usted estaba, antes del accidente, cuando ocurrió el accidente, si usted mantuvo su carril donde usted iba durante el accidente.
Sí, lo traté de esquivar. Antes, cuando dice la vuelta, te quedaste en el carril. Cuando yo di la vuelta, iba en el carril.
When I made the turn, I was in my lane of travel.
Okay. And is it correct that I heard his testimony was that he tried to avoid the accident and may have left his lane to avoid the accident? Is that correct?
Y lo que tengo entendido es que su testimonio fue de que usted se tuvo que mover un poco de su carril porque usted trató de evitar el accidente.
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. And then after the accident occurred, you stopped at a location and waited for the police to come. Is that correct?
Y después que el accidente ocurrió, usted se orilló, se movió a otro sitio a esperar a la policía, ¿correcto?
Ahí mismo nos quedamos ahí, nos orillamos ahí.
Yes, we moved ourselves to the side of the road, but we were there.
Okay. Nothing further for this witness at this time, Judge.
All right. Mr. Hudson, do you have any questions for this witness? Mr. Hudson, if you will unmute, please, sir.
Le va a hacer pregunta al señor Hudson. Espera un momentito.
Do you have any questions for Mr. Pineda?
I guess the only question I have is when we started, he said he was in the same lane as me and that he switched, but he wanted to switch, but he couldn't switch and avoid the accident. I guess the only question, I had a 51-foot trailer behind me, and I don't understand if it was a car next to him. He couldn't switch lanes. How he made it between the car, the trailer, to clip only the very front part of my bumper in a lane change.
So what is the question, sir?
Were you in the same lane as me, I guess, when you tried to avoid?
Your Honor, it's very difficult to hear.
Judge, I think Ms. Ida said it was difficult for her to hear Mr. Hudson to interpret what he was saying.
Okay, Mr. Hudson, can you please repeat your question, sir?
That's okay. So that's not going to matter anyway.
Okay. Your connection is not very good, and we're trying to understand you as best we can.
I got you, sir. I'm sitting in a truck stop in the middle of nowhere, so I was hoping I had a lot better connection.
All right. All right, he has no questions. Does the city have any other evidence?
City has no other evidence, Judge. The city would rest.
All right.
No hay más pruebas, pero no vamos a presentar más pruebas y no tiene más preguntas para usted, pero manténgase con la cámara abierta, señor Pineda, el micrófono apagado.
Okay, the city has rested. Mr. Hudson, you now have an opportunity to say what happened. Please speak slowly so that the interpreter can interpret.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, so I was leaving the racetrack.
Yo me estaba yendo del racetrack.
There was a tractor trailer in the turn lane to come in. I pulled short to allow him to get nosed in first, and then I'll pull up to the stop sign.
Había un trailer que estaba ahí que me dejó, que no me dejaba, que me dejaba parar, y entonces después él se metió.
That location has a turn lane all the way down to the farmer's market. So that's 2 lanes to get out of it. No,
Mr. Hudson, it's very difficult for Mr. Hudson. Your sound is really bad, and if you could please make short statements so that I don't have to ask for a repetition every time. You need to make a very short statement because it's very difficult for me to understand because I cannot hear. So please make short statement, allow me to interpret that way. Maybe I don't have to ask for many repetitions, because when you say one word and I cannot hear it, I'm gonna have to ask you to repeat the whole thing again, please.
yes, ma'am. So I pulled, it had a turn lane.
Tiene una carril para voltear todo al final.
So this allowed me 2 lanes to pull out in. I had no reason whatsoever.
Entonces eso me da a mí 2 carriles para yo poder voltear, no había ninguna razón.
I was pulled out into my lane and my vehicle was great.
Yo me metí en mi carril y mi vehículo estaba ahí.
Glanced in the right mirror to make sure that my trailer wheels cleared the curb.
Y entonces me metí en el carril de la derecha para asegurarme de que las ruedas de mi trailer podían estar en el carril, no estaban, no estaban en el bordillo.
They had cleared in the turning lane and my vehicle was in my lane straight.
Y que mi vehículo estaba en la línea para voltear y estaba ahí en el sitio donde tenía que estar.
I looked back forward and accelerated. Mr. Juanita came across my very, very front tip as he was changing lanes to go to the farmer's market.
Can you repeat that, because I couldn't understand what you were saying?
I'm sorry?
Can you please repeat the last thing you said, because it was very difficult to understand what you were saying.
Okay. As I looked back at glance to make sure my wheels were clear, they were. I looked forward and accelerated, and Mr. Pineda came across my front.
Came across your what? He came across your what?
the front of my vehicle.
Ok, me aseguré de que mis ruedas estaban libres de no estar tocando nada y entonces el señor Pineda aceleró y se metió enfrente de mi camioneta.
And he continued straight to the curb and stopped, and I just pulled straight over behind him because my trailer was still pulling out into the turn lane. So I went right behind him into the turn lane. That's where we stopped and waited for the officer to show up.
Y entonces él se metió y yo tuve que parar porque mi trailer todavía estaba ahí. Entonces después nos paramos y estamos esperando a la gente.
We got out.
Él se salió.
I asked him if he was on the phone to 911.
Le pregunté que se había llamado al 911 en el teléfono.
And he answered no, he was on the phone with his son to let him know he was not injured.
Y no, él dijo que no, que estaba llamando a su jefe para decirle que no estaba lesionado.
So I then called 911. I checked because I didn't want to inundate overload 911 with 50 calls for one accident.
Y entonces yo llamé al 911 y les dije porque no quería que hicieran 2 llamadas para reportar el accidente, sino para no tenerlos demasiado ocupados con la misma llamada.
Juanita and I spoke for half hour waiting.
El señor Pineda, hablamos por media hora que nos estábamos esperando.
I knew he was picking up vegetables and fruit for his wife's flea market.
Que estaba buscando frutas y vegetales para su esposa en el mercado, que tenía que entregarlos.
And that day they couldn't be delivered, so he had to come to the farmer's market.
Y ese día no lo podían entregar, por lo tanto tuvo que venir al mercado.
And he was worried about making it back to Houston by 3.
Que estaba preocupado de regresar a las 3.
He had already gathered his wife's stuff, went about 15 to 20 miles down the road on 75.
Y que ella había agarrado las cosas de su esposa y que estaba como a 15, 20 minutos en 85.
When his wife called and said, "Don't come home without the sweet bread," he turned around and came back to the farmer's market.
Y entonces la esposa le dijo, no te regreses a la casa sin tener pan dulce, entonces se regresó de nuevo al mercado.
He and his son had 6 engines to put in vehicles.
His son, what? Excuse me, can you repeat for the interpreter?
He had to be home by 3 to receive the engine from the shipper.
Okay, antes el hijo tenía que estar de regreso a la casa a las 3 para recibir un motor de la persona que lo estaban enviando.
He was sweating being there by 3 to do this, speaking with his son. I think, well, it's not for me to think, but I believe he was just in a hurry. He didn't take into consideration my acceleration and change lanes to get into the farmer's market entry.
Entonces él estaba apurado, se aceleró, estaba apurado y se metió en el carril mío para poder meterse al mercado.
And that was about 100 feet in front of where we stopped.
Y eso fue cuando enfrente de nosotros nos paramos.
Get the sweet bread.
Agarrar el pan dulce.
And he changed lanes and clipped me. If I had pulled out in front of him or failed to yield the right of way or ran the stop sign.
Y él no se paró a ceder el paso enfrente de un signo de alto porque se metió en el carril.
The damage on his vehicle was on the back half.
El daño a su vehículo fue en la parte de atrás.
damage on my vehicle was the very, very, very front.
El daño en mi vehículo fue el frente de mi vehículo.
I don't feel I failed to yield the right of way. I don't feel that I ran a stop sign. And I failed to yield the right of way.
Yo no pienso que yo dejé de ceder el paso ni de pararme en un stop, en un alto.
Damage would be on the front of his vehicle, and at least the front fender and wheel of my vehicle would have a collision. It did not. It had a
Y el daño hubiese tenido que ser en el frente de su vehículo y no en el frente del vehículo mío de la rueda.
And when the police officer got there, we had to suddenly get an interpreter.
When the police arrived there, you had to do what? Excuse me, please repeat for the interpreter.
Yeah, we had to get an interpreter. Even after we had been talking for a half hour.
Estuvieron hablando por media hora cuando la policía llegó ahí.
And the interpreter took Mr. Pineda to the side. They talked.
I don't understand your what is a discoverer? I'm sorry, I cannot understand what you're saying.
Repeat what you just said, Mr. Hudson.
Translator.
Can you repeat what you just said, please?
The translating officer took Mr. Pineda to the side.
Oh, llegó un intérprete y empezó a interpretarle al señor Pineda al lado de donde estaban.
And then Officer Dobbs asked me what happened.
El agente Das le preguntó qué había pasado.
I explained my side.
Yo expliqué mi versión de los hechos.
No way. The only response I got was I wasn't here.
Y la única respuesta que escuché fue que no estaba aquí.
Which he wasn't, so that was true.
Pero sí estaba, porque no era verdad.
But in the video, as they walk off, it's not clear that Officer Dodge was clear on what happened.
En el video, el agente Das pudo aclarar lo que pasó.
As the translating officer was telling him basically what he thought happened and how to write the report.
Cuando el agente que estaba traduciendo le dijo lo que había pasado y cómo escribir el informe.
Both vehicles are fixed. The damage has been repaired. Damage to my company was done. I just don't want this on my license for my current job.
Los dos vehículos se han reparado, ya se reparó, por eso mi compañía lo hizo. Yo lo que no quiero es que esto vaya a ponerse en mis antecedentes de manejo.
Are you finished testifying, Mr. Hudson?
Damage has been done. I had to close my business and go back to over the road driving. So if I could keep my license clean, I just not guilty, sir. I just did not fail to yield.
Yo quiero que esto no vaya a aparecer en mis expedientes y yo no soy culpable porque yo de ceder el paso, yo de eso no soy culpable.
Mr. Prosecutor, do you have any questions, sir?
Yes, Your Honor, just briefly. Mr. Hudson, in reference to your testimony, is it my understanding that you're saying that your vehicle never left its lane of travel when you were making that turn?
Señor Hudson, lo que tengo entendido en su testimonio es que usted dice que su vehículo nunca dejó la línea, el carril donde estaba manejando, nunca se salió de su carril.
Correct, sir. There's two lanes. Well, it's actually three lanes. There's a turning lane and then the 2 lanes of travel. So I had absolutely no reason even come close because I had 2 lanes to get out in. That's why I glanced back to make sure in the mirror that I wasn't about to run over and destroy the curbs or my wheels. And as I look back, at that time, my vehicle was in my lane of travel. And my wheels cleared in the turning lane and I started to accelerate.
Eso es correcto. Hay prácticamente 2 líneas o 2 carriles que continúan y una tercera que es para voltear. Y yo me aseguré de que las ruedas de mi camioneta y de mi trailer estaban justo en el dentro del carril y que no estaban por encima del bordillo. Y también me aseguré cuando estaba acelerando de que todo el camión y el trailer estaban en la línea, en el carril donde yo estaba.
You also stated that you were pulling a trailer. What size was the trailer that you were pulling?
Usted también dijo que tenía un trailer. ¿De cuánto era el trailer? De 51 pies.
And you said 51 feet, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. 51 feet is a 3-car hauler.
Okay. And with that type of trailer, would you not have to make a wide turn to avoid going on the curb or sidewalk or grass coming out of the racetrack?
Y en ese tipo de trailer tan grande no tiene que asegurarse de hacer voltear y abrirse un poco para que no vaya a caer y golpear caer en otra parte del carril.
Say that one more time, sir.
I said, with a 51-foot trailer, would you not have to make a wide turn going onto the main road coming out of that racetrack parking lot?
Y entonces para poder hacer esta vuelta.
You use all the lanes to the far left of the stop sign lane as close to the line as you can get. And then you got a turning lane that you can come out into. And that first lane of travel, which is mine, I turned into and never ever went into the inside lane. So I had 2 lanes to get out in. That's the turning lane and the lane of travel I was in.
I have no further questions for this witness, Judge.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Hudson, is there any other evidence you'd like to present, sir?
No, sir, I don't have any evidence. Like I said, I don't want or can't afford this to be on my CDL. There's court costs or fines for.
Well, Mr. Hudson, let me just say that. Mr. Hudson, let me just say this. That's ultimately a decision for the court. Okay. So is there any other testimony regarding this case that you'd like to say?
No, sir.
All right, thank you.
That's the pictures in the letter, correct?
Yeah, the letter is inadmissible. You've testified. That will be admissible testimony, okay?
Okay.
All right. So both sides have rested. Is that correct, Mr. Prosecutor?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And Mr. Hudson, you've rested your case as well. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, I have. That's
All
all
right.
I can say, I guess.
Okay. The court has listened to the evidence in this case.
La juez ha oído las pruebas en este caso.
The court does find you guilty of the offense of failure to yield.
Y el juez determina que usted es culpable del delito de no ceder el paso.
Upon the payment of a fine of $200.
Con el pago de una multa de $200.
Because of the mitigating circumstances, the court will reduce this to a basic rules violation.
Debido a la situación mitigante, el juez va a enmendar este caso a un cargo menor que es de no cumplir con las reglas básicas de manejo.
Mr. Hudson, what is your email address, sir?
Hudson, HUTSON 9999@AOL.com.
All right, do you have that, Ms. Yates? I believe you've also received an email from him.
Yes, we have it. Thank you.
All right, we will forward him his plea form where he's entered a not guilty plea. He has been found guilty. Upon the payment of the fine of $200, this will be reduced to a basic rules violation.
Okay, lo encontraron culpable y una vez que pague la multa le van a enmendar el cargo a un cargo menor de no seguir las reglas básicas de manejo.
That will conclude this matter. Mr. Pineda, thank you, and you can disengage. Mr. Hudson, you can disengage as well.
Señor Pineda, gracias. Se acabó este caso. Ya se puede retirar, señor Pineda. Gracias.
Does this ultimately go on my license, sir?
Because it's a basic rules, if you have a Georgia license, it will not show on there.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. The next case
Y'all have
is
a good day.
Rigoberto Mata Rios.
Yes.
All right. The next case, Mr. Prosecutor, is with Officer Chavez. It's Rigoberto Mato Rios. He's entered a not guilty plea to all three charges, which is a window tint, defective tires, and too fast for conditions.
Yes, sir.
All right. Trooper Chavez.
It's a court conflict. I just received word that there was a court conflict.
Okay. All right. Mr. Mata Rios, we have just determined that the trooper has a court conflict that takes precedent over this. Do you want me to reset this case for Forest Park, or would you prefer that it be bound over to Clayton County?
¿Me lo puede traducir, por favor?
I thought you understood English. Okay, que hay un conflicto porque la gente no te puede estar presente a última hora, entonces usted quiere que se quede este caso aquí o quiere que se lo pasen al Tribunal Estatal de Clayton para otra fecha.
No, que se quede aquí.
I would like it to stay here, Your Honor.
All right, we will reset this at the request of the city. This will be the first request.
Van a aplazar este caso porque lo está pidiendo la fiscalía. Se le otorga a cada quien una primera vez para poder cambiar el caso por razones especiales.
Ask him to please restate his email address.
Por favor, diga su correo electrónico.
Es rigo.goku.
Espérate. Rigo.goku.
Sí.
Ok.
107
Ajá.
@gmail.com.
Gmail. Okay, Your Honor, is rigo.goku107
Do we have that, Ms. Yates?
I have it. Just to confirm, now he typed in the email address, rigo.goku.
Okay.
107. That's what he typed in.
Okay, that is what it is. K, I'm sorry, KU.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, we will send him a reset. Let us note that this case has been continued one time by the city, okay?
Usted le mandará una notificación de que este caso se aplazó una vez por parte de la fiscalía, ¿ok? Para que sepa cuándo le toca de nuevo.
Okay, está bien.
Okay, that's
He
fine.
can disengage.
Ya se puede
Next, let's
retirar.
go to Pablo Montoya.
I'm here.
Okay.
All right, the witness is Jose Ochoa.
Okay.
Present.
All right, everyone that is going to testify, if you'll please raise your right hand, including Officer Bishop.
Por favor, levante la mano si va a testificar.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
Si usted jura testimonio que la verdad, nada más que lo jura, diga que sí. Let me just ask one thing, Mr. Señor José Ochoa, do you necesita intérprete?
Yo no, yo estoy bien.
Okay, Mr. Ochoa doesn't need an interpreter, just Mr. Montoya.
Thank you, Ms. Ida.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Prosecutor, you ready to get started?
Yes, Your Honor. So, Your Honor, on January 21st of 2022,
El 21 de enero del 2022,
Officer Bishop was dispatched to a location involving an accident.
el agente Bishop lo mandaron a un sitio donde hubo un accidente.
This accident occurred within the city limits of Forest Park.
Y este accidente ocurrió entre los límites de Forest Park.
And Officer Bishop, on the date in question, were you dispatched to the accident involving Mr. Montoya?
Y señor agente Bishop, en ese momento usted lo mandaron al accidente con el señor Montoya. El agente dijo que sí.
And are you a post-certified peace officer with arrest powers?
¿Es usted un agente POST certificado?
Yes, I am.
Sí,
And
sí
was
lo soy.
And was the accident within the city limits of Forest Park?
¿Y el accidente fue entre los límites de la ciudad de Forest Park?
Yes, sir.
Sí.
Could you briefly state what occurred in your investigation?
Por favor, ¿nos puede decir qué fue lo que ocurrió durante su investigación?
Upon my arrival to the accident scene,
Cuando llegué al lugar de los hechos del accidente,
I met with driver 1, Mr. Montoya,
Me reuní con el agente, con el conductor número 1, el señor Montoya,
and driver 2, Mr. Ochoa.
el conductor 2, el señor Ochoa.
Mr. Montoya stated, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Mr. Montoya stated to me he was traveling westbound on Forest Parkway.
El señor Montoya me dijo que él iba rumbo al oeste en Forest Parkway.
He was traveling in the inner lane and changed lanes to the left turning lane.
Que él estaba viajando y se cambió al carril de la izquierda para girar.
He stated that Mr. Ochoa was at first behind him and then got in front of him and switched lanes from the inner lane also to the left turning lane.
Y entonces me dijo que el señor Ochoa venía detrás de él, pero luego se mudó rápidamente enfrente de él para también voltear a la izquierda.
At that moment, Mr. Ochoa stopped in order for him to stop behind a vehicle that was already stopped at the red light.
Y en ese momento el señor Ochoa se tuvo que parar porque tenía que pararse detrás de un vehículo que ya estaba parado en la luz.
And Mr. Montoya said he had to stop abruptly, and with him stopping abruptly, he ended up hitting Mr. Ochoa.
Y entonces el señor Montoya dice que tuvo que pararse rápidamente y al hacer esto le pegó al señor Montoya por atrás. Perdón, al señor Ochoa por atrás.
All right, no further questions for this
All
witness.
right, we'll ask Mr. Montoya, does he have any questions he'd like to ask Officer Bishop?
Señor Montoya, ¿tiene preguntas que le quiera hacer a la agente Bishop?
La misma que yo le comenté ese día.
The same that I told him and I talked to him about that day.
I asked the office, yo le pregunté al oficial si la persona que venía atrás de mí me rebasó, pero fue muy rápido y se metió y se frenó.
Entonces, I asked the officer if the person that was coming behind. Señor Ochoa, necesita esperar que yo interprete y después continuar, ¿ok?
Perdón.
I asked the officer if the person that was coming behind me speeded up and then went in front of me. So I wanted to ask him who was at fault there.
Y yo le pregunté que quién tiene la culpa.
Ms. Ida, will you please explain to him that he will get a chance to explain his version, but right now, does he have any questions to ask the police officer?
Okay. Señor Ochoa, ahorita lo que quiere hacer son preguntas. Usted va a tener tiempo para decir su versión de los hechos, pero tiene alguna pregunta para la gente.
Esa fue mi pregunta, nada más.
Tiene que hacerlo en forma de pregunta. ¿Cuál es la pregunta?
Si me entendí, no hay pregunta hasta que yo explique mis hechos.
I don't have any questions until I give my side of the story.
Okay, thank you. Does the prosecutor have any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. If you could call Mr. Ochoa.
Van a llamar al señor Ochoa ahora.
Yes, President.
Mr. Ochoa, on the date in question, you were involved in a motor vehicle accident with Mr. Montoya. Is that correct?
Señor Ochoa, usted estuvo involucrado en un accidente con el señor Montoya. ¿Es eso correcto? Sí.
And can you state to the court how the accident happened from your position?
¿Y le puede decir al juez cómo fue que ocurrió el accidente, señor Montoya? Señor Ochoa, por favor, please stop so I can interpret, make pauses so I can interpret to Mr. Ochoa, to Mr. Montoya.
Okay, I was heading home and I had to make a left turn.
Yo estaba yendo a la casa y tenía que voltear a la izquierda.
And I passed him way before the turning lane.
Y yo lo pasé mucho antes de entrar a la carril para poder voltear.
And I got to the turning lane and there was a car stopped right in front of me that wouldn't move.
Entonces yo llegué al carril para voltear y había un carro que estaba parado, enfrente de mí, que no se movía.
And they had to push that car out the road.
Tuvieron que empujar ese carro fuera de la carretera.
And once I stopped and seen that car there, that's when he had hit me from the rear.
Cuando yo vi ese carro tuve que pararme, entonces fue cuando él me pegó por detrás.
So your vehicle You said you had passed him way before the turn lane. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Usted dijo que lo había pasado mucho antes de entrar al carril para voltear. ¿Puede explicar eso?
Yes. So, how can I explain that?
Vamos a ver cómo lo puedo explicar.
So it was I'll say like 5 cars behind. I had passed him.
Yo había pasado como 5 carros atrás.
I think that's how I can explain it in the best.
Let me just make sure that I understand your testimony. You're saying that you guys were in the same lane at one point?
No, I was in the other lane. So he was on the left lane and I was on the right lane. And I had passed, I had gotten into his lane way before the turning lane.
Él estaba en el carril derecho, en el izquierdo, yo estaba en el derecho, entonces lo pasé mucho antes de llegarme a cambiar al carril de la izquierda, al carril para voltear.
Okay, let me just make sure that I'm clear on this. You and Mr. Montoya were traveling in the same direction in separate lanes, is that correct?
Yes.
Ustedes iban manejando en la misma dirección, pero en carriles diferentes, ¿correcto? Sí.
And at some point, you changed lanes in order to get over into the turning lane, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Y usted se metió en el carril de la izquierda en algún momento, ¿eso es correcto? Sí.
And at the point where you were in the turning lane is when the impact occurred with Mr. Montoya, is that correct?
Y el momento
Yes,
que usted
sir.
estaba en el carril para voltear es cuando ocurrió el impacto con el señor Montoya, ¿eso es correcto? Sí.
So when you were both traveling in the same direction prior to getting into the turning lane,
Estaban manejando en la misma dirección antes de meterse en el carril para voltear.
Sir, can you repeat that?
when you both were traveling in the same direction and prior to you getting into the turning lane,
Cuando iban manejando en la misma dirección y antes de meterse en el carril de la izquierda para voltear,
you switched, I'm not
go
finished
ahead.
with the question.
Okay.
You switched over 2 lanes, and was Mr. Ochoa's vehicle anywhere near you at that point?
y usted se movió 2 líneas, y estaba en algún momento el vehículo del señor Ochoa cerca de usted en ese momento.
Are you asking Mr. Ochoa the questions, or are you asking the other guy the questions? Because I'm Mr. Ochoa. I'm the one that got hit from the rear.
I'm sorry, I meant Mr. Montoya. Was Mr. Montoya anywhere near you when you made the maneuver to go into the turning lane?
Disculpe, señor Montoya, ¿estaba él cerca de usted cuando usted trató de hacer y cambiarse para el carril?
I was.
Okay.
Oh, who goes first? Me or him?
The question is for you, Mr. Ochoa.
Okay. I got onto the left lane and he had I'll say he had more distance to stop when I got into the turning lane. So I got on the left lane and then I waited a little bit and I got onto the turning lane. When the turning lane started to appear in the dots, that's when I had turned.
Okay, I understand. All right. No further questions for this witness, Judge.
All right. Ask Mr. Montoya, does he have any questions for Mr. Ochoa?
¿Tiene alguna pregunta para el señor Ochoa, señor Montoya?
No.
No.
Then does the city rest?
City rest, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Montoya, the city has rested. You can now tell me what happened, sir.
Señor Montoya, ahora me puede decir lo que pasó.
Ok, era estaba oscuro y empezó a llover.
It was dark and it started raining.
El muchacho trae un carro deportivo y lo venían acelerando mucho, estaba atrás de mí cuando yo empecé a entrar.
The young man had a sport car and they were accelerating the car when I was there.
Behind me.
Behind me.
Ok. Cuando empecé a agarrar la curva, la salida para dar vuelta,
when I started to take the exit to turn,
he passed me on the side and él me pasó, perdón, Él me rebasó y yo lo vi en el espejo y me rebasó y se metió rapidísimo.
He accelerated and I saw him through the mirror, and then he accelerated real fast and then he passed me very fast.
El espacio que está para dar vuelta ahí es muy corto, hay como 6, 7 carros de espacios.
Okay, the space to be able to turn is very short. There is about space for 6 to 7 vehicles.
Yo iba como a 30 millas por hora cuando yo entré a ese espacio.
I was going about 30 miles per hour when I entered that space.
Él me rebasó y entró muy rápido y como vio el carro adelante, se frenó inmediatamente.
He he accelerated and he was going so fast. And then when he moved in front of me, he saw the car stopping right there. And because he was doing it so fast, then that's, he wasn't able to stop.
Cuando yo bajé y le pregunté si todo estaba bien.
I got out and I asked him if everything was okay.
No pasó nada porque yo alcancé a tocar nada más la defensa, no le pegué duro.
Nothing really happened because I didn't hit him very hard. I just barely touched the bumper.
Y pero a mí me dio mucho coraje.
But I got really upset. I was upset.
Porque cuando él me rebasó, él puso en peligro mi vida, su vida de él y 4 jovencitos adentro del carro.
Because he put in danger his life, my life, and 4 other life of the young people that were inside his car.
I don't know, yo no sé por qué él no explica bien. Ahora, yo le dije que le hablara a la policía para hablar y él no quiso. Él dijo que habláramos ahí, que arregláramos.
And I asked him to call the police, but he didn't want to. He wanted just to solve it between the two of us, but I wanted him to call the police.
Yo estaba muy molesto y yo le comenté al policía lo que había pasado. Yo no sé si me expliqué bien con la oficial, perdón.
I was very upset, and then I explained to the police what happened. I don't know if she understood the explanation that I gave.
La oficial me dijo que el castigo para mí es falling too close. Y él me dijo también que era falling too close, que yo tenía que pagarles a ellos.
The officer said that my punishment was for following too close and that I had to pay to them.
La pregunta que yo le tenía al oficial, y yo tengo con todo mundo, es si él provocó el accidente, ¿por qué yo tengo que pagar falling too close?
My question for the officer and everybody is, if he caused the accident, why do I have to be punished with following too close?
Y si esa es la regla, algo se tiene que arreglar ahí.
And if that is the rule, something has to be fixed with that rule.
Es todo. Gracias.
That's it. Thank you.
Does the prosecutor have any questions?
I don't, Your Honor.
Okay, no más preguntas.
All right. Mr. Montoya, you have been charged with following too closely involving this accident with Jose Ochoa.
Usted se le acusa por seguir muy de cerca con este accidente con José Ochoa.
Based on the evidence, the court does find you guilty of the offense of following too closely.
Basado en las pruebas, el juez lo determina que usted es culpable de seguir muy de cerca.
There are mitigating circumstances, so I am going to reduce this charge to a basic rules violation so it does not show on your record.
Hay situaciones aquí, factores mitigantes que voy a aceptar y entonces voy a enmendar su caso a no seguir las reglas básicas de manejo para que esto no le afecte su historial de manejo.
You will pay a fine of $200 to close this matter out.
Va a pagar una multa de $200 para cerrar este caso.
Will you ask Mr. Montoya to provide his email address? Well, he's there in the courtroom. We will let him enter a not guilty plea, and his judgment form will show that he needs to pay the fine of $200.
Okay, usted está allá en la sala, va a dar el documento para declararse culpable, y, perdón, que va a tener el documento que tiene y luego una multa de $200 que tiene que pagar. Okay.
Ask Mr. Montoya, does he have any questions?
¿Tiene alguna pregunta?
No, simplemente que yo estoy molesto con ese muchacho, nada más.
No, just that I'm upset with this young man.
Okay. Tell
Okay.
them that Mr. Ochoa, you are free to disengage from the call. Mr. Montoya, they will give you your information, sir, and then you're free to leave the courtroom.
Le van a dar su información, señor Montoya. Después que le den la información, usted se puede retirar y el señor Ochoa se puede retirar.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Miss
Your
All right,
Honor,
next.
Miss Allen, I'm sorry, Judge. Ask him, can he pay the 200 today or does he need time?
¿lo puede pagar hoy?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, he can. Your Honor, that is my last case. May I be excused?
You certainly can, Ms. Ida. Thank you so much.
Gracias. Thank you.
Judge, that's Officer Bishop's only matter. Can she be excused?
Yes, Officer Bishop, thank you as well. You can be excused. Next will be Anthony White. He has 2 cases. He has a stop sign violation of January the 28th and another one of June the 4th. He's entering a NOLO for the charge on June the 4th, and he's entering a not guilty for the charge on January the 28th. This is Officer Lewis. Mr. White?
Yes.
All right, Officer Lewis? Officer B. Lewis?
He was on earlier.
Officer B. Lewis? All right, does the city have a motion involving the matter on January the 28th? Mr. White, are you going forward with your NOLO on the matter on June the 4th?
Am I allowed to ask a question about that, or I just have to go as is at this point?
Well, I want to know what your plea is, but if you have a question, you can ask it. What is your question?
The NOLO, I would pay a fine possibly, but possibly not the assessed points on my license. Is that how that goes?
That is correct. If you're eligible for a NOLO, well, so we have to verify that you've not pled a NOLO within the preceding 5 years to a moving violation.
Okay. Okay.
So do you want to go forward with the NOLO on the June 4th matter?
What do you think? I'll go with the NOLO.
Mr. White, do you understand that by entering the NOLO plea? Well, first of all, Ms. Yates, is he eligible for a NOLO plea?
Yes, he is.
All right, Mr. White, do you understand that by entering into the NOLO plea for the June 4th, 2022 stop sign violation that you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
Yes.
Do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes.
Sir, are you entering into the plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And sir, do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into a NOLO plea to the stop sign violation for the June 4th, 2022 date?
Honestly, I don't know, Jan. I don't know.
Mr. White, we're just going to let you change your plea to not guilty. I'm going to reset both of these cases and we will have trials. And let me hear from the officer on both sides and we will deal with these then, okay? All right. So Ms. Yates, let's reset both of these cases. We will set them down for trial. Mr. White, do you want me to keep them here in Forest Park or do you want them to be bound over to Clayton County where you're eligible for a jury trial?
No, I'm fine here in Forest Park.
Okay. Ms. Yates, if you will reset both of his matters for a trial date here in Forest Park on both tickets.
Yes, sir. And I do have his email.
Okay, we have your email, sir. You will receive your reset. When you come back, we will go forward with the trials on both of those cases on that day. Do you understand that, Mr. White?
Your Honor, yes.
Okay, sir, you can disengage and thank you.
All right, and you're welcome. I appreciate it.
You will receive your plea form. Please enter a not guilty plea to both violations and send that back. And then you will receive your new court date. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, thank you, sir. You can disengage.
All right.
All right.
Judge Freeman.
Yes.
Can Officer Malone be dismissed? His case was bound over.
Yes, he can.
Okay, thank you.
Judge Freeman.
We will come back to you, ma'am. If you will hold on, please, okay?
I was just kind of let you know I'm finna get in a lift ride. They was taking me to the doctor, and I don't want the phone there. clear.
Okay, well, you do know that we have court this morning.
Yeah, I thought, it don't be.
Why don't
just-
we do this? Why don't we just reset your court date, okay?
Okay, and that will give me time enough for my medical paper.
That'll
thing.
give you time. Miss Yates, can you please reset her court date?
Yes,
All right. Do we have her email address?
yes, we do.
All right, man, we will just reset your court date. Next time, please make sure you allot 3 hours for court. Do you understand that?
Yes, I didn't set it. I tried to change it, and all of a sudden they just said, I said, well, I have court, and they said they sent me a left driver, and
I understand. Well, I'm going to let you do that this time, but let's make sure it doesn't happen again, okay?
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right. All right, Ms. Yates, let's go back. We're sticking on the calendar. Let's go to, we're resetting Juanita Redding. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So then the next person that we have is John Whitehead.
Can I disengage?
Yes, ma'am, they have your email address. You can disengage.
All right, thank you.
John Whitehead.
Yes, sir.
All right, if you'll please turn your video on.
Oh, I don't. Oh, is it on now?
It is on now. Mr. Prosecutor.
Okay. I keep getting alerts. I don't know if that's making the video to go off.
No.
Mr. Prosecutor.
We're ready, Your Honor. This is Officer Edwards' case.
All right, Mr. Whitehead, if you'll please raise your right hand along with Officer Edwards. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, Mr. Prosecutor, you want to go ahead and proceed with this case?
Yeah, I'm waiting for Officer Edwards to turn his camera on and take off mute. Officer Edwards, can you hear us?
I just sent him a request.
He's logged on here. We may have to hold on this. I don't know if Officer Edwards was pulled away from his camera.
Okay. All right. And the last one is Corey Willis and witness Donald Watts.
Oh, sir?
Yes. They're going to come back to you, Mr. Whitehead. They are coming back to you. It looks like the officer has been pulled away, and we'll be back to you momentarily. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Corey Willis and Donald Watts Jr.
Here.
I am hearing some noise in the background. Can you all please make sure? Thank you. Everyone that's going to testify, if you'll please raise your right hand, Mr. Willis and Mr. Watts.
Just a second, Your Honor. Mr. Willis just stepped away to the bathroom. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And also we have I believe it's Mr. Watts. We have him logged on twice.
Okay, we're ready. Is Officer James online?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Willis is here.
All right. Everyone that's going to testify, if you'll please raise your right hand.
Yeah, before we swear them in though, can we rectify? So on my screen, Mr. Watts has two.
Same here.
Yes, I'm logged in twice. I did that just in case.
That's going to cause an audio issue. So we need you to log off one of those cameras. We don't care which one, but one of them has to go off.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm sorry for
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes. All right. Mr. Willis, Mr. Watts, and Officer James, if you'll please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes. I do.
All right, thank you. Mr. Prosecutor, if you want to go ahead and present the case.
Yeah, Officer James, can I get you to turn your camera on?
She's actually in the
I
courtroom.
think she's right there in the courtroom.
Oh, we have her logged on also at the bottom too. Okay. Okay, we got you. So somebody just logged you off. All right. So Your Honor, Mr. Willis is before the court because on December 15th of 2021, he received a citation for failure to maintain lane. Officer James issued that citation. Officer James, on the date in question, you have an opportunity to come in contact with Mr. Willis.
Yes, sir.
And was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes, sir.
Are you a post-certified peace officer with arrest powers?
Yes, sir.
Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
I came across the gentleman driving and he failed to maintain his lane.
Okay, were you dispatched out to that location? Was that, or were you on patrol when you came across?
Patrol.
Okay. And so you witnessed it or noticed that there was an accident, you pulled over and inquired as to what was going on. And in your investigation, you spoke to Mr. Willis, correct?
Correct.
And did he make any statements to you that you can recall in reference to how the accident occurred?
I don't recall.
Okay. Do you have your citation available to you right now?
No, sir.
All right. Ms. Green, is there any way that we can give her?
I'll print it out.
Yes, thank you.
And the reason is because there are notes on there that I believe that you put down on the date in question. I want to make sure that you are able to verify those notes.
Okay.
You got it, Officer James?
Excuse me?
You have your citation?
No, sir, I'm still waiting.
Okay. Just let me know when you have it.
Yes, sir. I have the report, sir.
Okay. You have the incident report, you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you need
The accident report.
you need a chance to review that real quick in reference to your narrative?
I kind of remember the situation that happened.
Okay. All right. So again, in reference to how the accident occurred, in your investigation, you spoke to both drivers involved in the accident. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, correct.
All right. And can you state exactly the information that led you to believe that Mr. Willis was the person that should be charged in reference to the accident?
Okay, driver one told me that he hit the curb and he caused damage to his front tire and minor damage to his bumper. So that's why I gave him the citation, because he said that he was traveling his lane and then he hit the curve.
Okay.
So that's why I cited him with the citation.
That I wasn't cited. I'm driver two. I was the one that had the damage.
Mr. Watts, you cannot interrupt.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay.
That
Yeah, you haven't been called yet.
I'm sorry.
So let me just make sure that I understand the testimony here, Officer James. The information that you received was that driver one, which was Mr. Willis, left his lane of travel, which caused driver two, Mr. Watts to try to avoid the accident and hit the curb. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. No further questions for this witness, Judge.
All right. Mr. Willis, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Officer James?
Yes, Officer James, question of the day. You was with another officer, I believe you was in training. So basically you went off of what the other officer told you to write off, because that's not what was going on.
Judge,
Okay. So Mr. Willis, this is the point where you ask questions and give them an opportunity to respond. So I'm going to ask you to please reframe what you just said as a question.
Oh, want me to ask a question?
Yes, you are only to ask questions at this stage. You will get a chance to make a statement, but now you only ask questions.
Okay, I'm asking the officer, was he in training that day?
Okay, Officer James, his question is, were you in training on that day?
Yes, sir. I was present with the
She
senior
says she was in training. What is your next question?
My next question, what evidence do they have on his vehicle that indicate that my truck hit his vehicle, or he hit the curve and it was damaged because I swerved him off the road or something like that?
Okay, so let's stop there and make it a question. The question is, he's asking, what made you decide to charge him with this offense?
Because if he would have stayed and maintained his lane, the other driver wouldn't have had to swerve out of the lane to avoid hitting him.
Okay, so your determination was based on interviewing both witnesses. Is that correct, Officer James?
Yes, sir.
And your reconstruction of the accident. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so that's her evidence, is interviewing both witnesses and her reconstruction. What is your next question, Mr. Willis?
My next question is, I'm still confused on how did that indicate that I was in the wrong? I jumped out my lane when this is another driver here. I'm confused. I'm really confused.
Okay, well, let me just say this to you. You may be confused, but we have to adhere to the rules of court. So this is the phase where you ask questions, all right? And you've asked questions, she's given you her response. You will have a chance to make your comment. But the fact that you are confused is not necessarily a question. Do you understand that?
Yes, I understand very well.
All right, so what is your question if you have any?
My other question is, like I just said, how she leveled that I was at fault just by speaking to each one of us.
That she did it based on that. Her determination, again, Mr. Willis, is that she spoke to both witnesses as well as she reconstructed the accident. So based on that, that's what led to her issuing you the citation. So that is what she relied on.
I got another
question. Do you have any other questions?
Yes, by you saying that, did the other officers in training tell you to write that out? Or that's what you just came up with?
It was my judgment.
All right. Do you have any other questions, Mr. Willis?
No, I don't, Your Honor, for her.
Okay. Does the city have any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. Watts.
All right, Mr. Watts.
I'm present.
You've been sworn, sir. Go ahead.
I apologize for speaking out earlier. I didn't really understand, court protocol. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So we're calling on you right now for your testimony, Mr. Watts. Mr. Watts, on the date in question, were you involved in a vehicle accident with another driver, and that being Mr. Willis, who's on the Zoom today?
That's correct.
All right. And was that accident within the city limits of Forest Park?
It was.
Did you call the police, or did somebody arrive shortly after the accident occurred?
I called the police, but there was an officer present that was sitting in the parking lot, probably 300 or 400 yards from us. Okay. I don't know if that was the officer that's there now or the officers that actually came out on the call.
All right. And in reference to how the accident occurred, can you state to the court from your position how it occurred?
Yes, I was traveling northbound on Old Dixie Highway, and the driver was in a 18-wheeler with a 53-foot trailer. I was in the outside lane, which was the right lane, and he was in the left lane. He began to merge over. I started flashing my lights because it was a slow merge. And I started flashing my light and blowing my horn. He still did not see me. He continued to merge over. He wasn't changing the lane. He was just merging over. And to avoid the collision, I ran off onto the curb. I guess when my lights flashed up, when I went up on the curve, that's when he noticed me and swerved immediately over back into his lane. He continued to go forward. I backed off the curb and we got to the inside, the middle, which was the turning lane. And we moved up probably about another 100 yards and he stopped and then I stopped. And that's when I called the police. And then, you know, we got out and we talked and we waited. It took the police a while to get there. But in between that time, he offered to settle it right there. You know, he wanted to pay me on spot. And then I was like, no, I'm going to call, you know, I already called the police. He then called another driver he then called another driver. I'm a CDL driver and he was like, this is going to go on his record. And I'm empathetic to that. I did not want that to happen, but, you know, just his behavior, you know, I didn't want to handle it outside because there was damage to my car. You know, he asked where was the damage. My tire burst. The front end of my car on that side had bumper damage. All that stuff has been rectified now through my insurance company. I have those reports. He saw those damages there on that day. That's why he asked to take care of it right then. You know, that's
all right. So if you have nothing further, is that correct?
That's pretty much it.
All right. Nothing further for this witness, Judge.
All right, Mr. Willis, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Mr. Watts?
Yes, Mr. Watts said he's the driver. I'm confused if I merged over. There's no such thing as merging over. I had my signal on for 4 times. It's clicked 4 times. For you to be a truck driver, you should know that it doesn't happen. Just go over quickly. It took me time to get over to that.
So
lane.
Mr. Willis, okay, listen, this is where you ask questions, okay? Do you have a question you'd like to ask Mr. Watts?
Mr. Watts, are you a truck driver?
I am.
Okay, next question. Another question, Judge? Okay.
Yeah, you can ask as many questions as you like, just make sure they're questions.
So as a truck driver, Mr. Watts, I don't know your name again. You feel that I did you wrong and I was just pulled over in your lane?
I think you were distracted.
I was distracted. I'm sorry. I know I wasn't.
Mr. Willis.
I answer your question.
Yeah, hold on, Mr. Watts. Mr. Willis, when you ask a witness a question, they have a right to answer. You don't comment on their answer. Do you understand that?
I understand.
Okay, now ask the question, let him answer, then move on to your next question. I realize you disagree with what happened, and that's why people come to court and let a judge decide. But what I don't want is for any witnesses or any person's conduct to override the facts of the case. Do you understand that?
I understand.
Okay, and I'll be honest with you, your demeanor is beginning to take on an issue in this case that just doesn't need to be there. I need for you to comply just like everybody else. Do you understand that?
I understand very well.
Okay, go ahead and finish asking your questions.
Like I just said, Mr. Watts is a truck driver, correct? You answered that question already. You said I offer you money for something that was damaged to your car?
As I was stating earlier, before you cut me off on the part where I felt like you were distracted because you did not cut on a signal light. I'm going to answer the first question, then I answer the question that you just asked. You did not turn on a signal light. You continued to merge over. And that's why I started flashing my lights and blowing my horn. It wasn't until my car went up on the embankment, that's when, I don't know if you saw the lights then, or you saw the flash, or if you just started paying attention at that point, but that's when you immediately swerved back into your lane. Now for the other question, I am a truck driver, and then you didn't offer me money, you offered to settle it on that day. You were like, can we take care of this right now? And you know, because I'm a CDL driver and I don't want this to go on my CDL. And like I say, I was empathetic to that because I am a CDL driver. I'm a CDL driver, and I understand how, you know, anything that's against us. But you were displaying the same demeanor that night that you're displaying right now, and I didn't feel comfortable even doing that. So that's why I had already called the police, But that's why I just disengaged from that conversation.
Mr. Willis, do you have any other questions, sir?
No, I don't, Your Honor.
All right, does the city have any other evidence?
City has no other evidence, Judge. City rests.
All right, Mr. Willis, you can now tell me what happened, and then the city has the right to ask you questions, sir.
Once again, on that evening, Your Honor, I was driving my truck. I've been driving for 4 years on Old Country Road for over 3 years. It was a little daytime, you know. I was driving. I hit my signals, hit it 4 times before I pull over to go to a lane. I don't yield to a lane. I look at both mirrors to make sure I'm clear to clear the lane. Once I jumped in the lane, or before I even jumped in the lane, and my signal was on for 4 times, blinking already. Okay. And before I got into the lane, I checked again. There's no car to be found, no car to be seen nowhere in that lane, Your Honor. It's daytime, going on night. So if he had his headlights on, I would have seen him coming regardless of what. Now, when I changed my lane and got into my lane, if he would have hit the curb, I would have seen his headlights or car go up towards the curb. I would have seen the headlights. I didn't see his headlights until he started flashing me, which is to indicate for another driver to tell the driver, something's wrong with your truck, pull over, check your truck. He started flashing me, so yeah, I pulled over. I pulled over, he said, I run him over to the side. I said, you gotta be kidding me. I run you over to the side. There was nowhere to be found when I got into that lane. He said, yes, it was. I said, I'm looking at his evidence. And he's telling me he hit the curb. I don't see no damage to the tire, but the tire is busted. Then I said, you know, I'm trying to get, I'm not in no rush or nothing, but I'm just asking him I'm still confused on how this happened. Then he indicated that he was a driver, you know, so blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, you're a driver, then you understand that this is nonsense. You're gonna put this on my license, and it's, you know, there's flat tire. It ain't like your car bumper came off, and I still don't see where I was in the wrong, where I did you wrong. Then he kept going on, say, oh, no, blah, blah. Then he did. I said, you want to fix the tire? We can fix the tire. Said you putting this on my license, being that you drive and you understand that I'm a driver. I ain't got nothing on my license for the longest. So why would we even go through this? He said, nah. Matter of fact, my back hurt and all the rest of that. So once he said that, that just threw me off track. Then we go dealing with a mind frame that, you know, he looking for a quick check or something like that. So I left it alone, left the officer come. Officer came, I explained to them what happened with the situation. I said to him, show me the damage. Still, and even though officer couldn't write the damage on his vehicle. She went back to the car, came back. She spoke to another officer, came back. It's always the trucker's drug. There's always a trucker fault out here. So I ain't even signed something. I just left it alone because it was a lie on his side, and I just took it to a point where, you know, got a little frustrated because it was uncalled for. It was really uncalled for, and I feel I did not do it wrong. I've been driving too long on Old Country Road to be cutting off somebody. Now he would know as a driver, he know that if I'm going over, he should indicate that, you know, watch his way. A driver should know what another driver doing, if another truck driver doing, basically. So he'd feel that I was coming over. Why? But he still come over. If I'm merging, that's the crazy part about it. If I'm merging, why are you still coming over? As a truck driver, you should know that that's not the right move then. Like I just said again, my signal was on. Before I changed that lane, the signal blinked more than 4 times before I changed that lane. When I looked in the mirror, there's no vehicle to be seen. I got into the lane, still driving a little bit, then I see somebody flashing me. That's indicating, I think my doors are probably open, or I hit drag something or something like that. That's what truck drivers do. When we got to the side, that's when that took place. But, I ran him to the curb, his tire buzzed, his underneath his car messed up. I said, no, I don't think I did that at all. That's my statement.
Okay. Mr. Prosecutor, do you have any questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Willis, I believe that in your testimony, you just stated that this occurred during the daytime. Is that correct?
I must say it was going on in the evening. It was about 7 o'clock, so it was going on nighttime. It was still a little daytime, you know, daytime going into the nighttime, which headlights should have been seen. I would have seen this headlight.
Did you ever get a copy of your citation?
No, I didn't take it.
Okay, and that's because it looks like the one that I'm looking at, you refused to sign the citation. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right.
I disagree with
citation notes that the accident occurred about 8:07, and this was December 15th of 2021. Would it not have been dark at that point?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's been dark. So I would have seen his headlights if I would have switched lanes.
No, but I believe you just testified that it was daytime.
No, I'm saying night. It was nighttime going into daytime. Forest Park has headlights, not headlights, but street lights. So it was not that dark to be nighttime all the way at 8 o'clock. Because I would have seen his headlights when I switched over the lanes. I would have seen his headlights. I didn't see his headlights until I got 3 minutes down the road and he was blinking his headlight constantly.
Okay, so I also heard you testify. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Other than that, I would have seen him before I changed lanes. Headlights or no headlights on Forest
I believe
Park.
that. I believe that I also heard you testify that, or maybe it was your understanding from his testimony. You said that you had your blinkers on and you were merging over into that lane. Is that your statement?
No, I had my signal on blinking 4 times prior to that. It blinks 4. I had my signals on. It blinks 4 times before I changed lanes. Basically, more than 4 times. I get the person behind me indicating I'm changing lanes.
All right, and I believe you also testified that if Mr. Watts is a truck driver, a CDL holder, that he should recognize that if you had your blinkers on, that he should not be merging also. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Did you hear Mr. Watts' testimony about him already being in that lane?
That's impossible. I would have seen him. Why would I would have seen him before I switched lanes.
All right. So then let me ask you this. You stated that you saw him blinking his lights behind you. Is that correct?
After I was already in the lane, going halfway up the road already. He comes behind me.
So your testimony that at the time that you made that maneuver, there was nobody in the lane.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And at some point, somebody was in the lane, but blinking their lights behind you. Is that correct?
No, after I got in the lane completely, I still looked, there was nobody behind me. A few seconds later, he's flashing his high beams to pull me over. Prior to that, there was no one in that lane.
Okay. But now you just said a few seconds later, after entering that lane, you saw somebody blinking their lights.
That's after I got in the lane completed. I was completely in the lane, still traveling.
Okay, so you don't know where he came from. Is that your statement?
He wasn't in that lane when I pulled over. That's what I could say that for a fact.
So then let me just ask you this question. Why did you stop?
That's a signal. That's what truck drivers do. You flashing your high beams behind another driver. That's indicating something wrong with your truck. Your door could be open, or you're dragging something or something, in that era. That's what truck drivers do. You pull over another truck.
So you stopped because you believe there was something wrong with your truck. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. And so when you stopped, and I'm assuming you got out of your truck and you went back to the vehicle that was flashing you, is that correct?
Correct.
All right. And at that point, you noticed the damage to the vehicle?
No, I asked him what happened. He didn't want to explain to me what happened. I said, that don't even sound right. I'm sorry, that didn't sound right. But he kept going on with it. And I'm like, how did I hit you? How did I run to the curb? I'm still looking at my mirror when I changed lanes. If I'd have ran you to the curb, I would have seen you hit the curb and bounce back off the curb. Because I always check my mirrors constantly.
So let me ask you, let's go back to you changing the lane because you just brought it up. When you changed lanes, when you were turning onto the main road that you ended up traveling in, did you swing out wide or did you enter into the closest lane in your turn? In other words, it was a 2-lane road that you were merging onto. Did you immediately go out to the outside lane?
No, I was in the left lane. I put my signal to go to the right lane. Before I, signal blink, I let it blink 4 times. Whoever's behind me or whoever, in the area knows I'm about to turn. I didn't never turn on the 4th signal. I always give it time because I'm still looking in the mirrors, making sure nobody there before I made that turn. I don't merge over, I quickly go over.
I'm sorry, you said you didn't merge over, you quickly went over.
Yeah, it's not a quick, but it's quick merge, not zoom, like that, but in a way that I know no one's there and no one's coming, but speeding around me and try to come around me. I'm moving faster enough that I can know that no one's coming, and I know no one is in that lane already.
All right. And in reference to when the police got out there, how long do you believe you were sitting on the side of the road before the police came?
It wasn't too long because, like you just said, it was officers. They were sitting in the parking lot already. And I guess they came out and seen that we was parked to the side already.
Okay.
I don't know if that was the same party, like he just said, but it was officers there. But they came It would take too long for him to come.
All right, I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Willis, do you rest your case, sir?
Yes, I'm good.
All right. The prosecution has rested. Mr. Willis is rested. Sir, you've been charged with a lane violation. You've entered a not guilty plea. The court finds you guilty of the violation. The fine amount is $175. Sir, are you able to pay that today, or do you need a longer period of time?
Next time, a week or so, I'll be next week.
All right, sir, you will be given 2 weeks to pay. They will give you your plea form. They will also, once that's signed, they will provide you with a 2-week agreement to pay the sum of $175. Thank you, sir. Mr. Watts, thank you. Officer James, thank you. And Mr. Willis, they'll give you your paperwork and then you're free to go, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, Mr. Prosecutor, I think we have Mr. Whitehead. Has the Officer Edwards returned?
Officer Edwards? Your Honor, it doesn't look like they have. He's still logged on. They must be on the call. Let me look at something real quick. Mr. Whitehead was. Okay. Your Honor, seeing that we don't have Officer Edwards available, this is a minor traffic offense. The city's gonna move to dismiss for warrant of prosecution.
Mr. Whitehead, your matter is being dismissed for warrant of prosecution, sir. Have you provided the court with your email address?
Yes, sir, I have.
All right.
I have it.
Mr. Whitehead, you can disengage from the call and you will receive your plea form. And after that, you will receive your dismissal for warrant of prosecution, sir. Thank you.
Your Honor, excuse me, I came back because I remember we had Mr. Antonio Clemente Ambrosio. We didn't know when his hearing was going to be settled, and I just remember that, and I just checking to see if we know anything about that yet. Your Honor, you have your microphone.
Yeah, I don't know that he's on the calendar today at all, but let us check.
Okay.
I believe he's red speed.
He's red speed.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay.
All right, so that's Ramsey, and we will deal with him. Is there anyone else here from the main calendar that we need to deal with before we go to red speed?
We have Mr. Rahman, who I believe we put him on hold because he was number 1 on the calendar. And I think this was Officer James was the officer on that matter. And I believe we just released her.
No, she's still here. She ran to get the report.
Oh, okay. So Mr. Rahman would be the next person, and then we still, well, and then I believe the remainder are red speeds.
All right, well, let's go ahead with Ibrahim.
Mr. Whitehead, you can go ahead and disengage, sir. Mr. Whitehead?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Your matter's been dismissed for warrant of prosecution, sir. All right, so we're back now to page 1 of 8 at the top of the page. Is Officer James prepared?
She ran upstairs to get the report. She'll be back in a moment.
Why don't we go ahead and proceed with the red speed cases, and we will deal with her matter when she comes back down. Let's go ahead and go with Ramsey first. Well, let's go ahead and go with the one that Miss Ida needs to interpret first.
Judge,
I think this is Mr. Clemente Ambrosio.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Prosecutor.
If you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and be en route to Union City, and then I'll log on when I get there to finish up the case with Mr. Rahman.
That'll be fine. All right. Thank you. Can you let Mr. Ambroso know that he has been charged with a civil violation of speeding in a school zone?
Señor Ambrosio, usted se le acusa de una situación de tránsito de tipo civil donde se le acusa por exceso de velocidad en una zona escolar.
Sí.
All right.
Yes.
Let him know that this is something that is monitored through a camera system.
Esto lo hace por supervisión de una cámara.
Ask him to please raise his right hand.
Levante su mano derecha, por favor.
Do you swear or affirm
¿Usted jura o afirma
the testimony you're about to give
que el testimonio que va a presentar
to be the truth,
que será la verdad?
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad.
So help you God.
Lo jura por Dios.
Thank you.
Sí.
Yes. No, gracias.
Okay. Ask him, does he own a MP Sportage Kia that's black in color?
¿Usted es dueño de un MP Sportage Kia que es negro?
Sí.
Yes.
Ask him, was he operating the vehicle on August the 9th of 2022?
¿Usted estaba operando ese vehículo el 9 de agosto del 2022?
Es correcto.
That is correct.
At 11:22 a.m.
A las 11:22 de la mañana?
Es correcto.
That is correct.
Tell him he is accused of operating the vehicle where he was traveling 10 miles over the posted speed limit.
A usted se le acusa por estar manejando este vehículo a una velocidad que era a 10 millas a exceso del límite de velocidad que estaba marcado para esa zona.
Sí, sí.
Yes, yes.
All right. Tell him he has entered a not guilty plea to this charge. Is that correct?
Usted se declaró no culpable al cargo. ¿Es eso correcto?
Es correcto.
That is correct.
All right. If he would like to tell me why he believes he should not be charged with this violation.
Si usted me puede decir al juez porque usted cree que usted no debe ser acusado de esta infracción.
Yo no estoy confiando mucho en las cámaras. Esa es una.
I don't really trust those cameras very much. That is one, and there is another one.
La otra es que yo manejo muy despacio siempre por las calles de 35 millas. Aquí estoy viendo 10 millas de diferencia y no estoy seguro, honestamente.
The other thing is that I do drive, in the streets, slow speed. I usually drive 35 and 10 miles over the speed limit. That's a lot. I'm not sure.
Ask him, is there anything else he'd like to say?
¿Algo más que usted quiera decir?
Quiero decir, si no me queda otra opción, yo estoy dispuesto a pagarlo, pero quisiera mantener mi licencia limpia con una estrella, si podemos hacer algo en eso.
All I wanted to say is that I'm willing to pay it if I have another option, but I would like to keep my record clean. I would like to keep this out of my record.
Let him know that because this is the camera, that this is a civil violation and it does not go on his record.
Debido a que esto es por medio de las cámaras, esto es una infracción civil, no penal, y por lo tanto no lo van a poner en sus antecedentes.
Ok, muchas gracias.
Okay, thank you very much.
Tell him that based on the sworn testimony that the court has heard, he was the operator of the vehicle on that day. The court finds that he is civilly liable for this and that he needs to pay the sum that's directed on the ticket to the email address that's provided.
Okay, debido al testimonio que se dio aquí y lo que se ha escuchado, se determina de que usted sí es culpable de esto y esto es un caso civil. Por favor, asegúrese de pagar la cantidad que le muestran ahí y mandarlo a donde le dicen que tiene que hacer el pago.
Está muy bien, muchas gracias.
That's fine, very well, thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to the next matter involving Mr. Ramsey.
Okay, can he be dismissed, Your Honor?
He can be dismissed and so can you, Ms. Ida. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ya se puede retirar. Thank you. Have a good day.
Ok, muy amable, gracias.
De nada.
All right, let's go to Mr. Ramsey.
I'm here, Your Honor.
Mr. Ramsey, let me have you to please raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. Sir, you are charged with operating a vehicle on August the 15th, 2022 at 4:24 p.m. The vehicle that is depicted in the picture, is that your vehicle, sir?
That is my vehicle.
And were you operating the vehicle on that day?
I was not.
Okay, who was operating the vehicle?
My
Who
wife.
Your wife was operating the vehicle. Have you provided a sworn statement to the court that says that?
I have not. I thought that a testimony in court was also satisfactory.
Okay. To the extent, sir, that you have said that your wife was operating the vehicle, is your wife with you now?
She is not.
Is she someplace where she could jump on a call?
Yes.
All right. Why don't we do that? Was she in the car with you earlier when we spoke?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't we get her on a call so I can get her sworn testimony?
Okay. Hang on just a minute. Hang on, Your Honor. Let me go get her. All right, she's coming in the room now.
All right.
Can you see her, Your Honor?
Yeah. Miss Ramsey,
Yes, sir.
let me have you to please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. Now, this Explorer Ford 2018, is this car registered in both you and your husband's name, or is it just registered in your husband's name?
Just in my name, Your Honor.
Ms. Ramsey, your husband has testified that on August the 15th, 2022, at 4:24 p.m., that was you, in fact, operating this vehicle. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. So you were driving the car at the time of this infraction. Is that correct?
That's right.
Is there anything else you'd like to say about this infraction, ma'am?
Yes, I just want to say that passing Forest Park High School, I checked the school zone time, and it looks like this is outside of the school zone time, and that I would have only been going 4 miles over the speed limit because school ends at 3:15. And so I got the ticket at 4:24. So that's outside of the school zone time.
Yeah, for high schools in Georgia, it's actually not outside the school zone time, but I do understand your position. Ma'am, this ticket, this is a civil violation that it's kind of directed through the camera system. The ticket against your husband will be dismissed, and I will leave it up to the camera system as to whether or not they decide to institute the charges against you. Do you understand that?
I do understand. May I ask a question, Your Honor?
You certainly can.
So the time that school ends is not at 3:15, or it doesn't say that it ends at a different time? I just don't understand.
Well, the school zone time is usually an hour to an hour and 15 minutes after the school ends. Because that's what gives the kids time to move back and forth. So it varies based on middle school, high school, and elementary schools. So the camera system is triggered based on the time that's provided by that school for that time. And for some reason, this one has triggered that. But so that's the answer. But I just didn't want you to feel like because school ends at 3:15, that's also the time that the school zone ends, because that's not correct.
No,
The
I
way
knew.
the
I,
law was, it shows it's 1 hour from the end of school, and that's what was our research that we did, and that's why we thought we were outside of that zone.
Okay, well, again, the ticket against you, sir, is being dismissed. I'm gonna leave this up. As the judge, we just simply regulate matters. So I only address matters that are before me. The ticket regarding your wife is not before me right now, but they do have this recorded testimony. If they do decide to bring this charge, we will address it at that time, but I just wanted to make you aware that it may very well have been within the school zone.
okay, thank you.
All right, thank you
Ron.
all. You both can disengage.
Thank you.
All right. All right. I think the last matter that we have on the calendar is Ibrahim Abdul Rahman. Is that correct? And do we have Officer James?
Yes, sir.
All right. And Mr. Ibrahim Abdul Rahman?
Yes, sir. Rahman, yes, sir.
All right, thank you. The prosecutor is en route to another court, so I do not want to delay this hearing. Let me have both of you all to please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I affirm, yes.
All right, Miss Officer James, are you a duly certified police officer with post powers here in Forest Park?
Yes, sir.
And did this incident happen within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes, sir.
And were you employed as a Forest Park police officer at that time?
Yes, sir.
All right, will you please outline to the court what led to this gentleman being charged with speeding 63 in a 40 miles per hour zone?
Yes, sir. I was on patrol with my FTO at the time, Officer Tyler Edwards, who is LiDAR certified. He should be on the call as well. Officer Edwards is LiDAR certified, and we saw a vehicle. We clocked them at 63 in a 40 mile per hour zone.
Okay, so who did the clocking? You did the clocking or Officer Edwards did the clocking?
Officer Edwards did.
All right, is Officer Edwards on the call?
I see.
He's on the call, but I've sent him a request to unmute and start video, but I haven't received a response.
Okay. Well, of course, we have to have his testimony because he's certified for this. So let me sound, because I don't think he was on the call the last time. Officer Edwards, are you on the call, sir?
I can try to make contact with him again. I tried to call him. He didn't pick up.
If
But
you
I
want
can
to,
try
I will give you, if not, what I'm going to do is dismiss this case for warrant of prosecution. And if you all want to reinstate it, you certainly can. But I will give you a few moments to try to reach out to him.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. Can one of you all text the prosecutor and let him know that I'm handling this case and he doesn't have to worry about it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Also, can Officer Estrada be excused?
Yes, Officer Estrada, you can be excused. Thank you.
Sir, I was unable to reach Officer Edwards.
Okay, well, Mr. Rahman, at this stage, this case will be dismissed for want of prosecution. They do have the right to reinstate the charges within 6 months of today. Have you provided them with your email address, sir?
I have, but let me first, Judge, I want to thank you for your professionalism, being patient with all the people that come to court, first and foremost. I like to read, because when I didn't have the box to type in my email, so let me get that. So I want to have a
You
clear.
will please provide that to court personnel. Go ahead.
That's EBRAHEMROCKMAN
All right. Ms. Yates, do you have his email information?
I'm going to read it back to you, sir. E as in Edward, B as in boy, RAHEMROCKMAN
That is correct.
Thank
And
you.
can I give you my new address, because I think something was sent to my old address and I recently moved.
Well, how
Have
about
you-
we'll correspond via email and you can
Yeah,
provide
and
that.
let me make sure that you update your address with the Department of Driving Services, because that's what the court system looks to for purposes of sending notices.
Right, I have a new ID, a new driver's license with my new correct address. I just want to make sure the court had that.
So, sir, you're going to receive a plea form through your email by close of business tomorrow, to which you will enter a not guilty plea. This charge has been dismissed for want of prosecution. You then will get that. And unless the prosecutor elects to re-accuse this ticket, that will be the conclusion of it. But they do have up to 6 months to do that. All right?
All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. You can disengage from the call, sir.
Mr. Rahman.
Rahman, yes, ma'am.
Oh, sir, did you update your address with Department of Driver Services as of March 2022?
That is correct.
Okay, I have your new information. I'll update
Okay.
it in our system.
Officer James, thank you so much. I think that will conclude everything.